Item number 3 is staff emergency items, and I'm unaware of any staff emergency items today.
Item number 4.
Item number 4 is consent to appoint deputy district attorneys. 4A, appointment of Robert Anders, Austin Anderson, Evan Furr, Grant Biggs, and Tracy McKay. Michael Allen, district attorney. And Madam Chair, I have handed out Exhibit 1 for the board's consideration today. It's just a corrected appointment form for Mr. Evan Furr. It will be made part of the record, and the board will need to include the correction in the motion today.
Thank you. And that revised resolution is on the screen.
Good morning, Commissioners. It's always great to be over here, especially on a cold December Tuesday morning, and to hear the prayer of Jeff Anderson, pastor. I do have 3 of the 5 here with me today. The other 2 are probably stuck over in court or something. So we're here to introduce and get approval for appointment of 5 deputy district attorneys: Robert Anders, Austin Anderson, Tracy McKay, Evan Furr, and Grant Biggs. Oh, here's Tracy. I can tell you that each and every one of these have been a great addition to the office and bring their own special skills and talents to prosecution here in the 4th Judicial District. Robert Anders earned his bachelor's in business administration from Colorado State University, who has a really good basketball team this year, where he majored in accounting and minored in criminal justice. In 2020, he graduated from law school at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and has served as a law clerk, legal intern, and as a paralegal case manager before joining our office. Next, we have Austin Anderson, which is the next tall guy to our right. Got 2 tall guys here. Austin earned his bachelor's in criminal justice from Southern Utah University in 2013 and graduated law school at Stetson University. He has served in a variety of positions to include as a law clerk, a law extern for the U.S. Air Force JAG Corps, a legal intern, a litigation attorney, and an assistant state attorney, and most recently as a partner in the state of Florida. Tracy McKay is all the way to my right. She earned her bachelor's in interdisciplinary communication from Eastern Washington University. In 2022, she graduated law school from Ohio Northern University, where she ranked 9th in her class, which was much higher than I ranked in my class, by the way. Tracy has a broad experience ranging from serving as a writer and editor of a communications company, serving as a policy fellow in Washington, D.C., a research assistant, a teaching assistant, an academic papers editor at her law school, a litigation intern, and working for the Office of Chief Counsel at the TSA. Evan Furr earned his bachelor's in psychology from the University of Colorado in 2018. In 2023, Evan graduated from law school from Liberty University, and he also served as a research assistant and a legal intern. I would note that University of Colorado also has a good basketball team. Neither one of either CSU or CU, though, have as good of a basketball team as the University of Kansas. Grant Biggs earned his bachelor's in advertising from the University of Texas in 2020, and in 2023, he graduated from law school from Texas Tech University. And Grant's experience includes a number of internships and summer associate positions, including a district court internship position in 2021, and is a law clerk at the Lubbock County District Attorney's Office in 2022. Commissioners, we're very excited to have all 5 of these new additions to the DA's office. Some of these folks are actually provisionals that we hired in August, and we just like to split that group up. We had another big class like we did last year. All 5 of the attorneys that we bring before you, the 4 in person and the 5th one that's not here today, have been great additions to the office, are working hard on behalf of the citizens of the 4th Judicial District, and are leading the charge in the best judicial district in the state. We continue to set the benchmarks for prosecution here in the 4th Judicial District, and these folks are a big part of that. So I would ask for a unanimous decision from all of you.
Excellent. Welcome. Would any of you like to make a few comments? Maybe just tell us something that the district attorney didn't just tell us about you.
Summed it up for me. Got it all.
If you want to say anything, just come over here and say your name.
I would just like to say it's an honor to be working in El Paso County. I actually grew up in the Weld County area, left for a bit, came back here, love it here. So it's truly a joy and an honor to be working here.
Excellent.
And that was Robert Anders. Either one of you?
Okay, excellent. Are there any comments or questions from up here?
Okay, Southern Utah University. That's in Cedar City now, right?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay, I used to go down to the old Dixie College. I don't know what they renamed that one. So,
I
but
think they renamed it Utah Tech, but that was after my time as
yes.
well.
So we used to go down there for our Thanksgivings long ago. So Cedar City is a great place. And I'm curious. I've been reading a book lately or maybe watching a TV show. So when you cheer for a basketball team or a football team, do you cheer for your law school or do you cheer for your undergrad?
Mine's easy. I played football at SUU, so I'm cheering for them. And then also I went to Stetson in Florida, where the undergrad was in DeLand, Florida, like right outside of Orlando, and the law school was a completely separate campus in St. Petersburg. So I've never even gone to one of their games. So
Okay.
mine's easy, SUU.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And as always, the resumes are awesome, and I really like the variety of the background that you all have, and just some notable things. Our district attorney mentioned some of them, but I see in these resumes private practice, which is very important to me, litigation work, public defender work. That's awesome. I see at least one of you is fluent in Spanish, and that's an increasingly important need here in the community. Work in state attorney's office, clerk time, internship time, property work. But I think the one that kind of hit me is one of you used to work in the Air Force JAG Corps in Tampa. Well, I was stationed there once before. So now getting back to the football analogy, I'm just really interested in hearing that all of you are going to be supporting the Air Force Academy football team, right? All right, excellent. I think I got head nods from all of you. So, okay, this is good for me. Thank you very much. But I appreciate the background. I'm sorry?
Everyone except for the boss of the DA's office.
The last time I said go Air Force, they lost. So I'll say go Navy.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much. Great background. Look forward to working with you and appreciate your coming here to El Paso.
Well said, Commissioner. Commissioner Gonzalez.
I just wanted great resumes. Just wanted to thank you all. I love that newfound support maybe for some of you for the Air Force. I was really cheering for Navy this last weekend, so I hope you appreciate that, Mr. DA. Thank you.
Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you. I too am glad to see such qualified individuals moving into the DA's office, and certainly we appreciate the work that the DA's office does. I know that it's a very busy office, and we really appreciate the difference that it makes. I've said this before at another similar meeting about the Common Sense Institute study that was done, and really showed the difference in El Paso County and Colorado Springs compared to other locations in the state, because we have a DA's office who prosecutes cases. And so that's incredibly important to me as I think about keeping our community safe. And so I thank you all for stepping up and doing that work for the community. And I just wanted to say, so Stetson, I'm originally from Florida, and so that's not something you hear about a whole lot, but I'm very familiar with Stetson. I know quite a few people who attended there. So good to hear that. Maybe we'll have to reminisce sometime. We may even have a few crossover friends or attorneys, so that would be great. But otherwise, very supportive, and always, I know DA Allen always does a great job of making these selections, and so this will be an easy support.
Excellent. My colleagues have said it very, very well. We are happy to welcome you to the El Paso County team. You have an excellent boss there in DA Michael Allen, who runs a fantastic office. And I'm grateful for this opportunity to put names and faces together. And as you know, your work is not always front and center and seen. Sometimes it's behind the scenes, and for us to know the names and the faces that are working to make the things that we do see out front happen is an incredible comfort to know that the citizens of our county are in great hands, and you're a huge part of our public safety priority. So thank you very much. With that, is there a motion?
I would like to make a motion to appoint the Deputy District Attorneys Robert Anders, Austin Anderson, Evan Furr, Grant Biggs, and Tracy McKay.
And to confirm, the additional documentation that was not included.
Thank you. I will amend my motion to include the additional documentation item for item 6Q2, Exhibit 1.
I will second that.
That has been moved and seconded. Any final comments? Okay. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. I always love a unanimous verdict, and you delivered yet another one to us today. If I can just add, these 5 folks are in our county court team, and one thing that you probably haven't paid attention to because we haven't really pushed this out, but we just set a record for the number of trials in the DA's office. It's a record that no other DA's office in the state comes even close to. We're already up to 465 jury trials this year, which is exceeds the previous high of 399 jury trials in 2018, which was the previous record for the state of Colorado. So we are engaging with the public to hold offenders accountable and let the public have an insight into what's happening in the criminal justice system. And these folks are on the front lines doing that work every single day. So thank you.
Thank you.
One comment.
Congratulations.
Commissioner Bremer, can I make one comment?
Yes, please.
I just wanted to thank District Attorney Allen for the really hard work. As we read in Colorado Politics yesterday, the Supreme Court came down and actually disciplined and reversed a charge or a verdict in Fremont County, and that does not happen in the 4th Judicial District. So thank you very much for your hard work for making sure that things are done right, discoveries presented in a timely fashion. Those are all very important things, and we know that frequently you're under the gun as the busiest office in the state. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And yeah, just to sort of piggyback on that, we can't do the work that we do in getting discovery out without the steadfast support of all of you commissioners to give us the positions and the funding that we need to make sure that we're satisfying our obligations on discovery, because the ramifications can be just that big. In that particular case, it was a first-degree murder charge. The district attorney's office down in the 11th was failing to get discovery out in a timely manner, and they were doing that over a number of cases. So the court, rightly, according to the Supreme Court, reduced that charge from a first-degree murder down to a second-degree murder, which means that that person is now parole eligible if they are convicted. That's a huge reprimand from the court and something that we work hard to avoid in the 4th Judicial District. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 5.
Item number 5 is changes, postponements, and notice of the next meeting. I'm aware of 2 changes to today's meeting, one being the corrected exhibit for item 4A, which was already addressed. The second change is to item 6Q2 on the consent calendar. The insurance premium amount should be corrected to read $4,594,963, and the board will need to include the correction in the consent calendar motion today. And our next meeting will be Thursday, December 14th at 9 a.m.
Thank you. Item number 6.
Item number 6 is the consent calendar, inclusive of items 6A1 through 6Q3, with one administrative correction to item 6Q2, which was previously announced.
Thank you. And to confirm the addition of the numbers to item 6Q2 needs to be included in a motion, correct?
That's correct, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments on anything on the consent calendar from the commissioners? Hearing none. Is there anyone in the public wishing to speak on any item on the consent calendar at this time? Hearing none in the audience. Are there any online? Okay, thank you.
I would move to approve the consent calendar, including the change to item 6Q2 to reflect an insurance premium of $4,594,963.
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Item number 7.
Item number 7 is comments by elected officials and commissioner liaison reports. 7A, Clerk and Recorder Post-2023 Coordinated Election Update. Steve Schleicher, Clerk and Recorder.
Mr. Schleicher.
Good morning, Commissioners. Steve Schleicher, El Paso County Clerk and Recorder. And this is my Elections Director, Angie Leith. And what I want to do is take a couple minutes of your time and just go over our last 2023 coordinated election. And just to share with you, as I've already met with our major parties and, went over all the results of the 2023 coordinated election. But most importantly, I wanted to find out what my office did right and how we can get better, and just find out, information that has been shared by judges and things like that. But what I want to do, we're going to skip through a lot of this PowerPoint, which you'll sit there and take a look at. Sorry. Thanks, ma'am. Sorry about that, Commissioners. Okay, so going into this real quick, what I wanted to talk to you all about today is our coordinated election. As we all know, that was certified by our Secretary of State on December 4th. Talk about final official results for our coordinated election, talk about the risk limiting audit, canvass, statement of votes cast, mail ballot reconciliation report, our provisional ballot report, our VSPC ballot statistics, and also our accepted mail ballot statistics by data and party. So going into it is we had 196,391 ballots that were cast. As of the morning of mailing out our ballots, we had 485,529 active voters here in El Paso County. So the total turnout was 40.45%, which is pretty good for a coordinated election, which historically, and Angie, if I'm correct, we average between 31 to 33% on a coordinated election. So we saw an increase in there, which was great. The Clerk and Recorder's Office completed the official canvass of our election on Tuesday, November 28th. The final official results were reviewed by the bipartisan appointed canvass board and can also be viewed on my website. The final official results included additional ballots from military and overseas voters, or UOCAVA voters, and ballots that were counted after ID signature or other issues were properly resolved. So after voters came in to cure their ballots. So Saturday, November 18th, is my office and bipartisan judges participated in the statewide risk limiting audit for this past election. And of course, that is required by statute 1-7-512. Now to sit there and go into a little bit of the details of the canvass. So as I just shared, total ballots cast in this past election were 196,391. Total mail ballots were 194,338, and we had 136 special districts, so particular property owners. So if you remember looking on your sample ballot, there are some of our special districts that went to the ballot, such as Flying Horse and things like that, so that those particular questions went to those property owners. Total rejected mail ballots, 2,075, and we will go into detail on that. Total in-person ballots was 1,916, so these are individuals that showed up to our VSPC. Provisional ballots, we had one, and it was accepted by our bipartisan judges. We had 0 discrepancies in our risk limiting audit, And we had 124 total damaged and spoiled ballots. And where those came from was our 121 test ballots at our VSPCs. So every morning as the judges come in, we run test ballots to make sure the printers are good and things like that. And we basically destroy those ballots. What I wanted to provide to you in the public, and I provided to the major parties as well, is here is each and every precinct here in El Paso County, the number of registered voters, the votes cast, and the percentage of turnout per precinct. So you'd be able to sit there and take a look in regards to how this occurred, how each precinct participated. And as I've been sharing with you, this is great information, but my office is changing that into a GIS platform for our upcoming general election, where folks will be able to see this information daily as ballots are being submitted and go in and see the turnout for each precinct. But if you allow me, there's probably about 20 pages of PowerPoint that I'm going to skip through on the precinct level. Okay, what I would like to do is go into our mail ballot reconciliation report, and I'm going to have Angie go into this part. When we're sitting here talking about individuals that have voted more than one ballot, what we are doing. So Angie, you want to take over and talk about a reconciliation report?
Sure. Good morning. So as we mentioned, we had 194,337 mail ballots that were processed and accepted. The number right above that, you'll see 257,683. Those were ballots to active voters that we mailed out that chose not to vote. So they're voided from our system, and they do not get vote credit. But they do remain active in the system for the next election. The 2,229 ballots, those were ballots that were in prepared state at the election. We cannot mail ballots less than 8 days before the election. You must go into a voter service and polling center. But if we do receive an online change to your address, it puts a ballot into prepared state, but legally we can't mail it. So that's what the 2,229 ballots are. They were prepared, they were never printed, never mailed, and they're now voided from the system. And then we talk about the 2,064 rejected ballots. All of the codes are there. We had 10 people that voted more than one ballot. Those would be turned over to the DA's office for investigation for attempting to vote twice. You can see their ballot was not counted twice. We were able to stop it in the system. So 10 people had rejected ballots for voting more than once. We had one person that voted the wrong ballot. They stuck an out-of-county ballot into their El Paso County envelope. We cannot count that, of course. We had 5 people rejected, voter deceased. That does not mean that we had 5 dead voters. That means we received 5 mail ballot packets back. And on the outside of the envelope, a family member or somebody in the household wrote, voter has passed away, voter deceased. We cannot count that ballot. We have to account for it in the system, though, so they are rejected for being deceased. But that ballot was not cast. We had 5 people try to save a stamp and put 2 ballots in one envelope, which we cannot do. So we had 5 rejected. We had 7 people rejected verification affidavit not complete. That means they returned their mail ballot in an envelope that was not their mail ballot envelope. So they chose to put it in a different envelope, their own personal. That is a curable reject. So we did reach out to these individuals asking them to cure their ballot for it to be processed. Those 7 people did not cure their ballot, so it was not counted. We had 24 people that were required by statute to provide us ID. They did not. We did reach out to them. They also did not cure their status. So those ballots were rejected. We had 60 people return a signed envelope to us with no ballot in it. So we cannot count those, of course. We had 75 people return a ballot envelope with no signature on there. We did reach out to those individuals as well, and they did not respond back in time for that ballot to be counted. We had 329 people cast a ballot after 7 p.m. on Election Day whether that was trying to put it into a closed ballot box or through the mail. We do have to have those ballots, domestic ballots, back by 7 p.m. on election night. And then we had 1,559 voters that were rejected due to a signature discrepancy. That also is a curable ballot. So those 1,559 individuals did not respond back to us within the 8 days after the election. So those as well will be turned over to the DA's office for further investigation.
Okay, Angie, thank you. So also taking a look as our provisional ballot report is we had one provisional ballot, and that was conducted at our Citizen Service Center there on the first floor, where the voter just said, I just want to vote a provisional ballot, and our bipartisan judges did deem that they were a citizen and were able to vote in this election. Here is where you sit there and you'll take out our take a look at our VSPC ballot statistics. We had 10 VSPC locations for this last election. And as far as in-person voting, where you can sit there and take a look as far as the activity at each one of these locations, where we had Fountain Utilities, the main office at the Citizen Service Center, Meridian Ranch, which we are really, really happy that they actually reached out to my office and said, please, we would like you guys to be out here to do a VSPC. Pikes Peak State College, Powers Southeast Branch, which is the motor vehicle branch, Town of Monument there in Public Works, UCCS, Union Town Center, where my DMV is located up there at the North Branch. And here is a summary. So we saw a lot of activity at our downtown Centennial Hall here, here on the first floor, Citizen Service Center, and also UTC North Branch were extremely popular. Here is something that really surprised me as we were sitting here looking at the daily statistics of accepted mail ballot statistics by date and party. And as you can see, as the Republican vote came out and outpaced the Democrat and also the unaffiliated vote, as you can see here throughout the entire election. So with that being said, is there any questions? I will share with you some of the pass down from our major parties that we've already met with, because what I want to find out is what we're doing good or what can we do better. What is the information you're receiving from the judges that are working with us? And what's been shared with me is, many are extremely happy with how this election went. I have nothing to gauge it against. This was my very first election, but what the staff and the judges have said, this was a very smooth election. The attorneys were there at 7 and they left at 7:30 going, Steve, we don't even think there's an election going on, but we were busy. We received 73,000 ballots on election day. So we were extremely busy, and right now we are gearing up for our March 5th presidential primary, because we are getting ready to mail ballots out for that election here in about 3 weeks. Are there any questions?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you. Great presentation. Just a couple of quick questions. The first one is a real simple one. In the data that was provided, you had a comparison of like voting in person versus mail-in ballot, but I didn't see anything distinguishing between a ballot that was literally mailed in through the U.S. mail and ballot boxes. So were those combined together in that particular statistic? I think they were, but I just want to get that confirmation.
Commissioner, they are combined together. We do not, when the ballots come back, they either come back by mail, which is also considered drop box, or in a box at a VSPC, so it's a mail ballot being returned. We have a rough estimate, because we do weigh the ballots when they come in, just to see how productive our ballot boxers are doing or which areas we need another ballot box, but we do not track statistics on which comes in by the post office and by the drop boxes.
Okay, great. So those two ways of voting are combined into the term mail-in.
Correct.
Okay, great, thank you. And then I know that you had come and presented to us earlier in the year about getting a camera at every one of the ballot boxes and so forth. And then you also had, I think, a website where people could actually watch the video from those cameras on the ballot boxes. So was that in effect on this voting this particular vote, and was there a lot of use of that website? I'm just kind of curious if it was used this round and what kind of use it got.
So absolutely. So Commissioner, it was in effect. That is part of Secretary of State rule and also statute that we have to provide surveillance of the ballot boxes. And we did finish that project, change out all of the ballot box cameras prior to the coordinated election. And it was extremely popular. I sat there and I was looking at the Google Analytics, and there was thousands of individuals that were actually streaming the live cameras, and the most popular ones were actually ones in Bear Creek, the one up at the Citizen Service Center. Another one is Library 21C, were extremely popular. But now the citizens have the ability to sit there and pull up all 39 ballot boxes and watch what's going on. But the number of texts and or emails I received were not only from citizens, but our media, who absolutely appreciate, sitting there looking at that and just saying, hey, folks, there's a long line here at this ballot box. You could go here. But to me, it adds a lot more transparency to our election process. It's extremely popular. And in fact, our neighboring county has done the same thing, which is Pueblo County. She absolutely installed the same camera system and piggybacked off of us and replaced them out before the coordinated election.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes, I have just one question, but I will go home and answer it myself. You've got one precinct, Precinct 105, which is in Senate 9 and House 18, with 69% of the vote. Do you know where that one is? No?
Not off the top of my head, since the redistricting process was done some time ago, but
Yes.
not off the top of my head.
Well, I'm going to look and see where that is, because that's really fascinating. You have
Yep.
some other precincts very, very high, close to 60% too, but to have a precinct in an off-election year getting almost 70% of the turnout is pretty amazing.
I think that's a pretty good precinct leader right there.
Yeah, probably is.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I saw the list of ballots rejected by the county and the reasons for that. But the last couple of years, there's been a lot of public concerns over voter rolls and cleaning those up. So do we have a list of the total number of ballots that came back undeliverable or wrong address or something like that?
Commissioner, that is a great question. As you all are aware, as soon as I became clerk and recorder, I signed a contract with Experian. And I've shared this with the media, yourselves, and also the public. And the reason why I did that was to sit there and attempt to clean up our voter rolls. I think it's had a huge impact. What we're looking at is we had 27,000, just a little bit over 27,000 undeliverable ballots. However, I don't want to provide misinformation, but I think the last coordinated election, how many undeliverables did we have? So we had just over 30,000, and our general election was, 34 or 35,000. So we have dropped that dramatically. Also, I have decided that we're going to be running that data query once again. And here's what that does. Is we remove our confidential voters, remove our UOCAVA, which is our military and overseas voters, from sending over to Experian. What we provide to Experian is first name, last name, and mailing address. There is no confidential information at all shared. Within 24 hours, Experian provides the information back. And what we're looking at is this last election, we had probably about 40,000, nearly 50,000 voter records that we could not match up the mailing address to. So we actually reached out to these voters either by postcard or via email if an email is on file. And we saw over a 400% increase of voters reaching out to the office, updating their voter record. We also then, on the flip side, we saw over a 1,400% increase of voters reaching out and basically removing themselves from the voter rolls because they no longer reside in El Paso County or the state of Colorado. So I think as we go towards the 2024 general election, we have already determined we're going to be running that query again. looking at the primary and also leading into the general election, but we also have to allow for time to reach out to the voters for them to update their voter registration or just remove themselves from the voter rolls because they're no longer residents. But it was very successful, Commissioner.
Any further questions for the clerk and recorder today? Thank you very much, as always, for presenting this information and making this available to the public as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you to you and your staff as well. You guys did an excellent job. I hope you're getting a little bit of rest now that this is certified and done. Thank you. Okay, we are still on item number 7, and I will move on to any other. There are no more countywide elected officials wishing to make comments. DA Allen. Okay.
Madam Chair, can I interrupt for just a second? I
Yes.
think we're having some technical difficulties with our live stream right now. If we could take a quick 5-minute recess so that our AV team can get everything corrected, I think they would appreciate that.
Okay. Did everyone hear that? We'll take a brief 5-minute recess. Again, transparency is of the utmost importance to us here. We want to make sure that those watching online are able to see and hear. So we need a couple minutes to work through that issue. We are in recess. Welcome back, and I will call this December 12th meeting of the Board of County Commissioners back to order. Thanks again for your patience. We are on item number 7. We just completed item 7A, and we are moving on to now the commissioner comments. Commissioner Williams.
Yes, good morning. So on my calendar this week, I just have, as we hit the holiday season, things are slowing down, just the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments and the Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority, and then our land use meeting on Thursday. I did want to comment on the Hanukkah celebration on Sunday night. I was able to go to one off of Academy. Rabbi Boaz, if I'm right, was the rabbi there, and we did part of it outside, and then they moved back inside for the rest of it, but it was quite inspirational. I enjoyed it. He talked, at least on the lighting of the first candle, about how we can be a light in the darkness, and I really enjoyed that. So I wanted to comment on that. Many other activities over the weekend, but that was the one that I wanted to comment on the most. And thank you for thanks for the freedom of religion we have in our country, and for the opportunity of people to worship and not be persecuted. It's been somewhat dismayed to see the persecution of the Jewish people in the past couple of weeks within the United States. So we've got some education maybe to do of some of our younger generation on that, but I really enjoyed the ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Vanderweer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll start with the fact that I was honored to ride with a sheriff's deputy and a behavioral health clinician in a Beacon unit ride-along on Saturday. And for those of you that don't know what this is just a great thing we're doing in El Paso County. It's called a co-responder unit, where you have a behavioral health clinician, a certified clinician, and a deputy sheriff riding in the same car, and they respond to calls in the community that usually have an individual who's distressed mentally for one reason or another. These units have been in use here now for about 6 years in El Paso County, and they typically de-escalate potentially dangerous situations, and most often do not end up in incarceration, but also end up in an opportunity for the individual that's in distress to get the right kind of help that they need to deal with the challenge they've got. That de-escalation I am truly believe that de-escalation has saved lives and actually got people into the right kind of place where they needed to be. And I'm just so proud of the deputy sheriffs and the clinicians that are working in those crew cars. That was really awesome. I also enjoyed the menorah lighting that Holly Williams just mentioned. We both went to that and had an opportunity to light. Each of us had an opportunity to light one of the candles. And that is an expression of religious freedom. And of course, it's just even more appropriate now because of what's going on in the Middle East. But it was wonderful to get that invite, have some food with the Jewish folks in that center, and then participate in the lighting of some of the menorah candles. That was really awesome. Also over the weekend, I participated in the Pikes Peak Firearms Coalition Christmas dinner. This was our 30th anniversary. It was a wonderful event. And I got a lot of feedback back saying it was probably one of the best Firearms Coalition dinners that they've ever been to. Also, excuse me, continue with my calendar tomorrow. I'll be participating along with some of my colleagues in the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments board meeting. And then, of course, we have our BOCC Land Use Day on Thursday. And there's a mix throughout the week of different holiday parties and so forth that I'll be going on. And then the last thing that I would like to mention is Wednesday next week, the 20th of December, will be the last state Board of Health meeting, and I will be participating in that. There are some important topics on there with regard to rulemaking. And for those of you that don't know, I was appointed to that board post-COVID, and have been working pretty hard at trying to make sure that our individual rights and freedoms are maintained with regard to rulemaking coming from the Colorado Board of Health. And those are the comments I have this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to start off, had a good Friday afternoon with a press conference with several of my fellow commissioners here, speak about the county's efforts to be compliant with Tabor and our efforts to utilize a temporary mill levy reduction to reduce the property tax hit on residents that we saw over the last the year. So I was very proud of our discussion there. Also, tonight I'll be attending the Air Force Academy's Christmas concert and reception. Tomorrow morning we'll do a Region 16 Opioid Council meeting first thing in the morning to vote on a couple of amendments. And then right after that go into a Board of Health meeting tomorrow morning, which I believe is here. Change of location or venue. It'll be here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. That's the Board of Health meeting. Visit COS Holiday Reception and Gathering on Thursday evening. Thursday land use meeting. And I just want to say, because going into the holidays, this will be our last regular board meeting. We don't normally give comments during the land use meetings as a county commissioners. So I just wanted to wish everybody a great Christmas holiday season as well, and New Year, and hopefully we'll see a wonderful and great 2024. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of things that my colleagues have already mentioned. I too will be participating in the Opioid Council tomorrow morning. There is also a very important meeting on Thursday night in Falcon related to the Rex and Meridian construction. So we will be having plans laid out for what that construction is going to look like, giving the community some expectations on that. I will be there. That is at the Falcon Fire District at Old Meridian in the community room there at 6 p.m. on December 14th. So I look forward to sharing that with our community and hearing about all of the plans. This has been a long time concern for residents, and so I'm very, very glad that we get to get the opportunity to really get this rolling and fix a concern that has been of great concern for the community for the last several years. I also have several constituent meetings and internal meetings for the rest of this week in addition to that land use meeting. And I too will say a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and looking forward to really working hard when the legislative session rolls in January. We won't have long once we come back to really get that going. So there's lots of planning and conversations. I really do appreciate Commissioner Gonzalez mentioning the press conference. Both Commissioner Vanderwerf and Commissioner Gonzalez and I, we all participated in that. We were glad to be able to talk about the property tax reduction. There was a lot of different news coverage. Hopefully some of you saw that. I think there were 5 stations that covered it. I know even yesterday morning I heard it was running on Fox. So I'm glad that we were able to get the word out. Of course, it was a pretty long press conference, and every news outlet decides to cover it a little bit differently. So I'll take this opportunity just to say here that really grateful for the coverage, but the real hero here is Tabor. And, you know, there are only, I think, 7 counties left that operate underneath the Tabor restrictions, and we are one of those. And it's not always easy, but that's how it should be. Government should be restricted so that we are respecting the rights of citizens to keep more of their own money. So proud to be able to do that, but I wanted to make sure that that was stated here. It wasn't all captured by every outlet in the same way, and wanted to make sure that it was clear that Tabor deserves the credit in this situation. That's been planned since at least October, I think, is the first time we started talking about it here, and we were glad to finally get that word out.
Thank you, Commissioner. I believe Commissioner Vanderwerf has a redo.
Yes, thank you very much. I just want to express my appreciation for Commissioner Geithner's comments about the press conference and the fact that we are lowering our mill levy here in Colorado, in El Paso County, to address the increasing home values of homes. That's appropriate and right to do, driven by Tabor. But I think a very notable point about that, there's only 7 counties left out of 64 counties in Colorado that still abide by Tabor. That's incredible. And there's similar kinds of numbers for the municipalities, school boards, and everything else. I would just recommend, since we cannot necessarily trust what's going to come out of the legislature in Denver, for the purposes of protecting our citizens, I would encourage local government to re-Tabor. Please re-Tabor and protect your citizens from runaway growth that you can't control because of other issues. I also appreciate Commissioner Geithner's comments about constituent meetings, and I just simply failed to mention that on December 15, there will be a Green Mountain Falls Town Hall meeting at 2 o'clock, and I will be there and looking forward to talking to constituents up in the Green Mountain Falls area. Thank you, and Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you. On that note of mill levy certification and this being our last regular meeting of the year, I did want to point out that our final budget approval, including a mill levy certification, has been moved back to now that first meeting in January, which is January 9th, and that will be the final public hearing and final vote on that budget approval for next year. I will begin with my list of calendar events, which sounds incredibly busy for tomorrow, and then I want to move on to some other comments. I, too, will be joining General Clark and his wife with the Air Force Academy this evening at the Pikes Peak Center. I will not be able to attend the PPACG board meeting because I am stacked up with others, and I'm about to list them for you tomorrow. I'm meeting with a group of local leaders early in the morning, and then I will too be running over to the Board of Health meeting here. That is a change not only in venue but also in date. Because although it was noticed at the beginning of the year, it is a change in the normal week that the Board of Health meets because of the Christmas holiday. And straight after that, I will attend the Urban Renewal Authority. And then following that, the El Paso County Housing Authority. All of that is before 2 p.m. tomorrow. And then also trying to attend many receptions and other things that we are invited to in this season. Just making sure that our citizens, our residents, our partners, our community nonprofit partners see us present and in it with them. Our land use meeting on Thursday, and then I will be speaking at the Peak Executive Forum and joining elected leaders from both the city and our state legislature and providing an overview of how we all work together from state to local government. And you'll see an example of that later on in our agenda today as well. But looking forward to serving on a panel for that meeting. On Sunday, I had the distinct honor as well of being the opening speaker at a rally in support of Israel, and specifically against anti-Semitism in our community. And I have to say, I couldn't be prouder of our community in other parts of the country and even in other parts of our state that has turned into a very contentious and not peaceful thing. And I am grateful for our community. I'm grateful for the connection and collaboration across many faiths that came together to really just stand against terrorism, against anti-Semitism, or violence against any group that is uncalled for. So very honored to be at that, and it was moving. It was incredibly moving, and an honor to represent our county in supporting one of our nation's closest allies, Israel. So, yesterday the Gazette. Thank you for that, but I'm going to actually, thanks for the reminder, I'm going to take this opportunity to realize that as we move through our meeting, we've got a lot of really good business and really great things to hear from all of you today. I want to make sure that we're able to keep moving and keeping the decorum and respect for everyone. And so I would ask that during any of these items, that we maybe try to keep applause and other things to a minimum, and we will move through those, and so that we can hear everything that needs to be said by everyone. So thank you, though. The Gazette reported yesterday that a group of concerned citizens and parents, I think many of you here in this room, have contacted our district attorney and requested a criminal investigation into what they believe are inappropriate books in school libraries. As the mom of a 9-year-old myself, I understand and appreciate the concerns of parents in protecting our kids from any obscene material and content. And as with all concerns, we fully support the right and duty of our citizens to petition the appropriate division of government to hear their concerns. With that said, it's important to note that this El Paso County Commission has no jurisdiction over policies or funding in our school districts. However, legally speaking, we do have a financial relationship with the Office of the District Attorney, but through no direct oversight of his office. Because of this, and because of our value in the separation of powers and independently elected offices, it would be inappropriate for this commission to, as a whole, or members individually, to speak to any potential action taken by another fully elected official in office. So today we'll continue our constitutionally protected practice of allowing unfiltered public comment. It's possible that some comments will be made featuring content that some people might find offensive. Should this happen today, this commission will continue to follow our long-standing rule of allowing citizens to speak on any topic they desire without undue restriction, and abiding by the board rules, which is 3 minutes each. Comments made by citizens are theirs and are not endorsed or opposed by this commission. So I just wanted to just add those comments before we move on. Are there any other elected official comments in the room? Okay. Item number 8.
Item number 8 is community service organization reports, and there are none.
Item number 9.
Item number 9, public comment on items not scheduled on the agenda. This is the public's opportunity to comment on an item not scheduled on today's agenda. And Madam Chair, I have a list of people signed in to speak, and at your discretion, I can begin reading each name into the record.
Excellent. That sounds great. Before I have you read that first name, I think I've probably said enough, but we're going to allow each of you your 3 minutes in time. We ask that you respect that timer that you will hear go off. Introduce yourself loudly and clearly for the record, which actually, if we're calling you by name, that will already be a part of it. If you know the order, or if you would like to queue up in the aisles to keep us moving smoothly. And again, please have respect for those that are speaking. And recognized to speak at the moment, and let's keep the decorum very professional so that everybody can hear what all of you want to say and that we can hear it. Okay. With that, would you mind actually reading maybe then 2 names at a time? Thank you.
Yes, so the first 2 names I have are William Sauvel and Anna Mitchell.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dr. William Sauvel, and I'm the father of 2 wonderful girls here in Colorado Springs. I'm a retired Army veteran, go Army, after 23 years supporting special operations activities around the world, including in multiple combat theaters. Also, until just recently, I was a Homeland Security Investigations Task Force officer. Due to the types of operations and cases I supported, encountering crimes against children was commonplace. If you remember from Sound of Freedom, where the agent is sitting there and he's typing up what he's seeing on the screen, I've done that before. In short, I'm very mindful of the most surreptitious but extreme habits of wickedness. So when I walk into my daughter's schools and discover ideologues and material promoting several warped concepts, including graphic sexual activities like oral, rape, incest, pedophilia, and bestiality, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very serious problem. I'd like to throw out two numbers, 1450 and 43.9%. 43.9% was the 2023 Colorado CMAS passing average for El Paso County in math and language arts, meaning less than half could meet the very minimum requirements. 1450 is the current tally of books, many of which promote the topics I just mentioned in one school district alone. That's what I call, that's what's called a negative linear correlation in causal relations and statistics. I'm going to repeat to you what I said at one of the first school board meetings I spoke at as a parent. This isn't education, this is indoctrination. When I began speaking out, so-called progressive activists and special interest groups almost immediately came out against me and my family, mostly using the mantra, "You're just one parent." Well, today, as you can see, I'm not just one parent. Thousands of parents, grandparents, and guardians across El Paso County are waking up. Thousands are making a stand between their kids and these degenerates. And we're all saying our children are not social experiments. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's please keep the cheering to a minimum. Thank you. Next.
Hi, I'm Anna Mitchell, a resident of El Paso County and a grandmother to 6 grandchildren. And I get emotional. I apologize in advance because this is a very serious subject. This book here, Who Are You?, was found in the public libraries and which the teachers of any public school can request as part of their curriculum. And it's written for 5-year-olds. And it's titled, Who Are You? And in the preface, it says a note for grown-ups. This book, for some reading this book with a little person in your life may be the first explicit discussion you have had about gender. That offends me right there. The important thing to remember, here's the start of this book. This is a story about you. The important thing to remember is that you are the one who knows you best. When babies are born, people ask, is it a boy or a girl? Babies can't talk, so grown-ups make up a guess by looking at their bodies. This is the sex assigned to you at birth, male or female. Sometimes people get this confused with gender, but gender is much more about the body you were born with. As babies grow into kids, they start to know what they like and don't like. This is your personal expression, what you like, how you dress and act. There are so many ways to express yourself. What you can like can change as you grow up or even from day to day. And there are pictures. Kids know a lot about themselves. They know who they are by how they feel inside. This is your identity, who you feel like inside, who you know yourself to be. This can also change as you grow up or change from day to day. Your gender is just one part of your identity that makes you you. Some people say there are only 2 genders, but there are really many genders, according to this book. You are who you say you are because you know you best. For some people, the grown-ups guessed right about their body and their gender. This is called cisgender, when someone's identity matches their sex assigned at birth. And this is for 5-year-olds. And for some people, there are more than just 2 choices. These are just a few words people use: trans, genderqueer, non-binary, gender fluid, transgender, gender neutral, agender, neutroi, bigender, third gender, two-spirit, and there are even more words people use. This is called the gender spectrum. And since I'm running out of time, oh, the book's almost over. There are lots of ways to be a boy, there are lots of ways to be a girl, there are lots of ways to be a kid. Be who you are. In the back, there's a little chart where a child can have fun figuring out where they are in this gender identity issue. And I'm done, but I take offense with this book and I say it's not appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for respecting the time.
I want to make sure there's no minors in the room, please. And I want to thank you guys for going ahead and getting the property tax down. This book is called Push. It's an adult book that is in school districts 3, 11, 14, 20, and 38. There are 2 hard copies in PPLD. It's also an audiobook under the title Precious. This book was made into an R-rated movie. Any child in our county school district can access to hear this book, which includes what I'm reading today. Then she picked up a cast iron skillet. Thank God it was not hot grease in it, and she hit me so hard on back I fall on floor. Then she kicked me in ribs. Then she say, "Thank you, Miss Clarice Precious Jones, for fucking my husband, you nasty slut. I feel like I'm gonna die. I can't breathe from where I have baby start to hurt. That cunt bucket slut, nigger pig bitch. He done quit me. He done left me 'cause of you. What you tell them motherfuckers at the damn hospital? I should kill you," she screamed at me. I feel Mama's hand between my legs, moving up my thigh. Her hand stops. She getting ready to pinch me if I move. I just lay still, keep my eyes closed. I can tell Mama's other hand between her legs now because the smell fills the room. Mama can't fit into bathtub no more. Go sleep, go sleep, go sleep, I tell myself. Mama's hand, creepy spider, up my legs, in my pussy. God, please, thank you, God, say I fall asleep. I tell counselor I can talk about daddy now. My clit swell up. I think daddy. Daddy sick me, disgust me, but he sex me up. I nauseous in my stomach, but hot tight in my twat. I think I want it back. The smell of the bedroom, the hurt. He slapped my face till it sting. My ears sing separate songs from each other. Call my names. Pump my pussy in and out. In and out. Oh, I come. He bite me hard. A hump. He slap his hips in me hard. I scream pain. He come. He slap my thighs like cowboys do horses on TV. Shiver. Orgasm in me. His body shaking. Grab me. Call me fat mama, big hole. You love it. Say you love it. I want to say I don't. I want to say I'm a child, but my pussy popping like grease in a frying pan. He slam in me again. His dick soft. He starts sucking my titty. This book, any of your children can go ahead and access and read or listen to right now. And I know that you feel that you cannot say anything to the DA, but as parents, I think that you guys have the right to say that. You have the responsibility to go ahead and say it. You also, we're asking to go ahead and go to the Board of Trustees and the library to make sure that it's impossible for the kids to go ahead and access non-appropriate age material online, as well as in the sections that are in the libraries that are designed for children and teens, because these books are there for them, and it's bad. Are there any questions?
No,
Good,
thank you.
because I want to throw up now.
Please remember to introduce yourself, and your 3 minutes will begin.
Greetings, commissioners. Thank you for giving me your complete attention. My name is Robin Rock. I have worn many hats. I was an engineer, I'm a mom, and now I'm a Grammy to 2 beautiful, innocent boys. My dream is for those 2 precious little souls and any future grands to grow up with their innocence intact. Schools and libraries have become unsafe for little people's human development. Adults with agendas are stealing and destroying lives of children and families of all types. Our children are not being taught to read, to write, and forget about balancing a checkbook. I truly wish that all kids could leave the failed public school and instead spend their days exploring in a field of plants, flowers, bugs, and little creatures, a chance to lay down in green grasses and look up at our fluffy white clouds and just dream and see rabbits and bunnies and ducks and dream for their future. We are losing our dreamers. We are losing our inventors. For what? Every child's innocence is worth protecting. Innocence lost is lost forever. I will continue to help every single parent, whether I agree with their philosophies or not, to escape the nightmare of home educate. I've helped many families get out of the system. I ask you, in your positions, to please, to give all of the children a chance to dream, to explore, to discover on their own who they are. I believe you will agree with me that the innocence of children and young adults are worth protecting. I ask that you use your position to protect children, all children. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, just a reminder, let's please keep the applause.
Hello, my name is Ivy Liu. As the representative of D49Guardians.com and the state liaison for the Moms for America, I'm asking you, all elected officials, to draw a line in the sand once and for all. Do you recognize this? Accuse your enemy of employing the very tactics you're using. Distort truth and reality. Call evil good. Call good evil. Put darkness for light and light for darkness. Break up the family unit. Remove parental rights. And go after the children. These guerrilla warfare tactics have been employed by murderous dictators in history and extremist activists today. Their objective is to undermine the foundations of goodness, holiness, families, traditions, and Christian values as intended by our founding fathers. The obnoxious vocal minority seeks to inflict harmful and pathological cognitive dissonance on the majority with the aim of harming our children and destabilizing our country. They mean to intimidate and threaten elected officials, school board members, and us. Why do we let them? We're the majority. We will not comply. Through insidious indoctrination, our enemies are sabotaging our children's intellectual and academic development and molding social justice warriors who lack critical thinking, self-reliance, and self-confidence. Furthermore, they're attacking the very essence of children's identity through this constructed transgender crisis that is nothing more than a social contagion. And the introduction of these explicit books that taint the innocence and purity of our children. We are at a precipice. We can no longer afford to stand by and let evil triumph. Elected officials and school board members need to step up and nip this in the bud. It is that simple. Recall the compromised ones. Get rid of them. We, the people, have the power. These are our children. This is our country. No more excuses, no more selling out, no more standing by and doing nothing. All the money and power that you have won't grant you access to heaven, nor remove the millstone around your neck as promised by Matthew 18:6. The brown shirts in history all ended up bound for the gas chambers in the same cattle cars alongside the people they betrayed or ignored. Draw that line in the sand today, once and for all, elected officials. Do something different. Well done, my servant will be waiting for you, along with an eternal legacy that you and your children can be proud of.
Thank you. I'm going to say it one more time. Please keep the applause out of here so that we can transition very quickly and hear every word from the start to the finish. Thank you.
Morning. My name is Bob Pennick, and I'm here on account of I have 6 grandchildren in the school system. Over 12.5 conservative groups signed off on a petition given to DA Michael Allen to criminally investigate our country's schools with the organization Take Back Our Schools leading the charge. Take Back Our Schools has gone through hundreds and hundreds of books and continues to go through more along with other concerned groups. Keep in mind that the majority of these books are accessible to all children in schools via Pikes Peak Library. These are some of the findings. D20 has over 1,400 books flagged as obscene, vulgar, or non-appropriate age material, with 121 books so obscene they flunked the Mueller test. D11 has over 300 books flagged with 107 flunking the Mueller test. D38, over 100 flagged with 8 flunking. D49, with well over 700 with 34 flunking. And RE2 with over 50 books with 8 flunking. These books are not just in high school, but in middle school and elementary school. Keep in mind that your children or grandchildren, teachers may also have personal books in their classrooms that are just as obscene. Do you know what your children or grandchildren have access to read? Please inform the DA that you stand behind him, pursuing the schools to remove obscene materials and use your influence with the Board of Trustees at Pikes Peak Library District, as a lot of these books are illegal and abusive. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Charles Wingate. I'm here today to talk about the book Shine. It is rated as a teen novel for 14-year-olds. It is nice. It's in the school districts 11, 20, 38, and 49.
Sir, can I ask you to bring the microphone close to you if you would?
Okay, I'll bring
There
it
you
closer.
go. Thank you.
Usually I'm louder, so. The books are in districts 11, 20, 38, and 49, not only for high school, but also in middle schools. It's also at the Pikes Peak Library District and at the Penrose Library, and it's also available online as an ebook. Any child with a Pikes Peak Library District card can access this book, even though it's rated, even regardless of the rating, you can read any ebook at the Pikes Peak Library District. I'm going to read a passage from the book. When I was 10, I caught my brother dropping his pants in front of the mirror of Aunt Tildy's bureau. My brother's penis was no longer soft and pink. It was bigger. It jutted from his body in a way that confused me. I shrank behind the door frame, but I couldn't take my eyes couldn't turn my eyes away from that thatch of dark hair. When did he get that? This is something that our kids are reading at 14. Shine is about a teenage girl whose gay best friend is violently attacked, and she sets out to find the culprits. Along the way, the sexual abuse of her friend comes out, and numerous drug addicts are ousted. Eventually, the culprit is thrown off a cliff. But his death is concealed from the police so that it can be deemed an accident. I'm asking you today as county commissioners to use your influence with the Board of Trustees of the Pikes Peak Library District to ask them to look at material like this and remove it, because it may not be something that a 14-year-old needs to read at 14. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Please remember to introduce yourself. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lisa Vasquez, and I am here because of what's going on. I cannot believe that our laws have changed, that our laws are not protecting our children, our grandchildren. I was a foster adopt specialized home for 28 years. I took care of these children that they're talking about. I took care of the abused children, sexually abused children, and what's going on right now in our schools is unacceptable. There's laws to protect our children, My question is, why aren't they being upheld? Okay, so in 2022, Colorado Code, Title 18, Criminal Code, Article 7, offenses relating to morals, sexually explicit material harmful to children. I'm gonna go ahead and read this because I may not have time to get to this, but I definitely have time for this. So in Article 5, it says that, I'm sorry, give me one moment. It says that the materials are, okay. It shall be unlawful for any person knowingly to exhibit, expose, or display in public, at a newsstand, or any other business or commercial establishment frequented by children, or where children are or may be involved in part of a general public schools, excuse me? Okay, I got a little attitude here. I'm sorry, I apologize, but these are our children, and if we're not going to protect them, who's going to? So you sit there and you say that you can't do anything about it. Yes, you can. You have power. You were elected by the people. You have power, and you can do something, and I'm just putting that out there. I respect every one of you, and I'm here today because I respect all these children. They have to have someone to protect them. So any pictures, photographs, drawings, sculptures, motion picture film, similar visual representation or image of a person or portion of the human body which displays sexually explicit nudity, sexual conduct, or abuse, and which is harmful to our children. This is only one part of a law. There's many laws. This is number 5A. I can continue if you want me to continue, but I want you to know that we are here to fight. This is not acceptable, what's going on with these children.
Thank you.
Bless y'all.
Thank you for introducing yourself.
Merry morning to you all. I'm Georgie Hutchison, a tenacious teacher of 51 years for our Lord and for our children. And I'm also a grandma and a concerned citizen of Colorado Springs. My providential and preferred pronouns are she, her, and hers. I tell this story because I can, writes Sandra Mitchell in the author's note of her new novel, All the Things We Do in the Dark. Seeking to avoid adding one more fictional rape to a world that uses it for too often for an entertainment, Michelle retells a traumatic event from her childhood, adding elements of fabulism. The first thing that everyone notices about the main character, Ava, is the elaborated scar on her face. When she was 9 years old, a deceptive, deranged man lured her into the dark and brutally raped her. But Ava's a junior in high school now, and she knows what to do. She avoids strangers, and most of all, keeps her emotional baggage neatly folded in mental boxes with strong, secure locks. That is, until she finds a dead female body in the woods, which threatens to topple the carefully constructed wall of normality that she spent years building around her. Ava instantly connects with the dead teenager, whom she calls Jane. Jane haunts Ava at every turn, leading Ava to take impulsive chances. Soon, Jane's secret can no longer stay hidden, and Ava must make a choice. Will she claim her buried past, or let it claim her? Like the worms in the soul of Ava's visions, all the things we do in the dark will crawl into the reader's souls and stay under their skin. Significant and sobering segments of this thriller, of this book, are as follows. I had a good rape, the kind where I was young enough that it was definitely not my fault. I was not sexy enough to have secretly wanted it. My rape was committed by a psycho, stranger, bad man, not anybody nice we know, that had a razor blade finger. After blood streaked down my cheek and sweat too, I was smeared with dirt and sticky with snot. Something else was wet, somewhere else I didn't want to say. When bodies like mine and Jane are violated, abused, assaulted, and molested, samples from our mouths, vagina, and anus are taken by the medical examiner. The books that are in our school are definitely inappropriate. They contain sexual content, rape, violence, physical murder, PSTD. So as Isaiah says, it's time to turn the light into darkness and bitter into sweet. Thank you for being accountable and caring for our children. We appreciate all of your service.
Just a reminder to please respect the time. Thank you. Next, and introduce yourself.
My name is Judith Cole, and I'm a former nursery and elementary school teacher in private and public education and a founding board member of a charter school in D11. These ages are so formative. The exposure to a curious child is that precious awakening to the world of words, science, mathematical understandings, nature of plants and animals, astronomy, and the implementing of facts to be borne out by refined and critical thinking. In the same way that a newborn child is in a certified car seat and strapped in on the first ride home, we parents, guardians, and teachers and community leaders should seriously cocoon each child of our village to their rightful age-appropriate instructions. We have to show ID for purchase of cigarettes or liquor, or even unwrapped magazines on a shelf. We wouldn't allow this to happen to our children. A quote from Moms for Liberty, Tiffany Justice, while speaking to CNN, Moms for Liberty does not ban books, write the book, print the book, sell the book, but school is for age-appropriate material meant to educate. In this, how do pornographic cartoons and graphic descriptions of violence or sex acts articles, educate our public school students to read and write? How do they help improve the reading or the math skills that have sunk into such record lows? This sexualization of children in schools when they can't even get into a rated R movie or even access the same content through the internet is now available through our school libraries. It has nothing to do with education. The number of flag books that are rated incorrectly for age is atrocious. Books that push transgender ideology and to have a child start questioning their gender have no business to be read or given to kindergarten, elementary schools. We ask that you look at our county district representatives, that you contact the DA who is charged with tasking to prosecute rape. This is rape of an innocent mind. It is powerful. It is important that we take this step and we protect all of these children in all of these schools, private, public, homeschooled, wherever. This is their innocence. It's lost, and we need to protect. Find a way for you to reach out and to say this on behalf of all the children in our county, in our nation. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think we're going to continue until everyone who has signed in and is here to speak can do so. But I want to just give a quick heads up. I've had a request for a quick restroom break. I think at 10:45, we'll find a pausing point, take a very quick break, and be back to hear everybody's testimony as well. So I think that gives us time for maybe 3 more speakers. And then we will continue the other speakers after a quick break. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. My name's Tony Hewlin, and the Bible is my plumb line for life. It encourages me to be the best person for myself, my family, and my community. In the book of Philippians in the Bible, it says, keep your thoughts fixed on all that is honorable, admirable, beautiful, respectful, pure, holy, merciful, and kind. Fasten your thoughts on every glorious work of God, praising Him always. These books and literature we are presenting today do not align nor comply with this or any other scriptures in the Bible. This book, called The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, has been often banned due to its mature content. Yet, it is in the Pikes Peak Library and at least 10 school libraries, including D20. It claims to be appropriate reading for children 11 years and plus. It's about the sexual perversions of a 14-year-old boy who seeks comfort in sexual thought patterns and actions. He describes not only his enjoyment of masturbation, but also describes how he masturbates. He describes specific situations such as, I spend hours in the bathroom with magazines of thousands of naked movie stars. Naked women plus my right hand equal happy, happy, joy, joy. I admit I masturbate. He also describes his erection while hugging a school counselor. He writes about enjoying magazines of people burned alive, people shot in the face. These are just a few examples of declared self-violation, because he is violating himself in this book. So at best, this book is about a sad, lonely boy attempting to find love and acceptance through perverse thought patterns and actions. At worst, the author appears to use this sad boy's perverse life to promote and encourage readers into similar perverse thought patterns and actions. By the way, the author, whose name is Sherman Alexie, has been accused of sexual harassment in 2018 and has not denied the charges. Closing in Proverbs 23, it says, as a man, woman, or child thinks in his heart, so he is. So thank you for your time. We, like everyone else, we hope you carry it forward for the protection of our children and this next generation.
Thank you. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Donna LaBelle, and as we've heard a small sampling of the books in our library, I would like to read from existing legislation. Miller versus California, decided June 21st, 1973 by U.S. Supreme Court, also referred to as the Miller test. The U.S. Supreme Court devised a three-pronged test to determine whether a work presumed obscene is legitimately subject to state regulation and not protected by the First Amendment. The three criteria, all of which the material in question must meet, are as follows. 1, whether the average person, applying contemporary community standards, would find that the work, taken as a whole, appeals to prurient interest. Number 2, whether the work depicts or describes in an offensive way sexual conduct or excretory functions as specifically defined by applicable state law. And number 3, whether the work, taken as a whole, lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. CRS 18-7-101, current through 2023 legislation, Colorado's legal definition of obscenity is as follows. Number one, the average person applying contemporary community standards would find that the taken as a whole appeals to the prurient interest in sex. Number two, patently offensive representation or descriptions of ultimate sex acts, normal or perverted, actual or simulated, including sexual intercourse, sodomy, and sexual bestiality, or patently offensive misrepresentations or descriptions of masturbation, excretory functions, sadism, masochism, lewd exhibition of the genitals, the male or female genitals in a state of sexual stimulation or arousal, or covered male genitals in a discernibly turgid state. And number three, taken as a whole, lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. CRS 18-7102 current through 2023. Under this Colorado revised statute within which definitions closely mirrors those provided under Miller versus California, the wholesale promotion of obscenity to a minor is a Class 6 felony, carrying 1 year to 18 months in prison and or $1,000 to $100,000 in fines. The aforementioned makes it illegal for any person to knowingly produce, distribute, receive, or possess with intent to transfer or distribute visual representations such as drawings, cartoons, or paintings that appear to depict minors engaged in sexually explicit conduct and are deemed obscene. This statute offers an alternative two-pronged test for the obscenity with a lower threshold than the Miller test. And I do believe that this is the law and we should keep the law. So I'm asking for us to keep the law. Thank you.
Sure. Before we take a quick break. Thank you. One more. Yes.
Right now?
We'll take one more speaker now. Thank you.
Do I have the ability to have the overhead?
Yes. Nancy can help. You know what, while we're working on that, perhaps we'll just take our
break
quick
now?
break now and be ready to go with your 3 minutes when we return. We are in recess.
The thumb drive, that's what, because. Or.
Took it out. So it's on the thumb drive, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning. Thank you for your patience, and welcome back to the Tuesday, December 12th meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. I'm calling this meeting back to order. We are still on item number 9, public comment, and thank you for up to this point being very organized, efficient, speedy, and I would ask for just a bit of grace and don't take anything from it if I'm standing up for a while and then sitting down for a while. I am recuperating a bum hip. So with that, we will resume on public comment. I think we have a speaker ready to go. And again, just a reminder to respect the 3-minute time limit and no applause before or after so that we can hear the next person beginning and ending. Thank you. Please introduce yourself.
Is this on? Is it live now? Okay. Good morning, Dr. Linda Zamora Wilson, and I'm here as a concerned parent and talking about the book Genderqueer. And you can see, first of all, I'm going to disclaim a disclaimer that make sure there's no one that's under 18. It's very important. These and I have images of the book, and upon talking with some of the board members, I am going to just kind of, I don't want to show them because they're very, very offensive. There's nudity. And so I am doing my best to just go over it. But anyway, so we've heard from that CRS Title 18, Article 7, Part 1. We've gone through that description of the law. There's also another CRS, that's Title 24, Article 90, Part 6, and this is legislative declaration. This actually pertains to internet in the libraries, and it restates what the previous CRS mentioned. So it is up to the libraries to prevent minors from seeing these images. And if you look at the last line, technology protection measures they're supposed to take to block or filter internet access to visual depictions that are obscene. So here's the book, Genderqueer. It is about a biological girl's memoir exploring gender identity and sexuality. This is located in District 11. There's a hard copy book. It's also 4 books are at Pikes Peak Library District, and there's 2 e-copies. Anyone can see this, anyone with library access. And you can see a screenshot of the library, Pikes Peak. This is banned in 15 states as of August 2023. And here's where I'm going to, the slideshow has the pictures, but I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Oh, shoot. Down where? Okay. Yeah, so obviously, you can see that this is talking about masturbation and nudity. This is really disgusting. This is the author talking to her sister, and the sister is saying, it never really occurred to you to put something into your vagina, not even a finger, and the author goes, no. And they talk about tasting yourself, and of course it has a picture of vagina slime, and this goes on and on. It's obviously disgusting. It's hard for me to even look at it or read it, but there's more, and I'm just going to conclude because you guys can see this.
Please respect the time. Thank you.
To clear this.
Can you conclude your comments, please?
Yes. The goal of the school is to educate children, reading, writing, arithmetic. This is not a counseling session. The book violates CRS 187101 and CRS 249601, and people need to be held accountable. CRS 249601 enforces that children need to be protected from this material. The book is not appropriate for children. It increases confusion and mental illness in our children. Let the children be children, and I urge you to engage against this indoctrination, protect our children, stop our taxes from paying for this inappropriate material.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Next person, please. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Garrett Flicker. I am the Vice President for Log Cabin Republicans, which is the LGBT conservative organization in the state. First and foremost, thank you guys for allowing me to speak today. This material is not suitable for kids. Let's just be clear. They're attempting, this is being pinned on the gay community as LGBT, they're pushing LGBT propaganda. I've talked to many gay, lesbian, and transgender people all over the spectrum, and they all think this is heinous. This should not be in our schools. Additionally, when it comes to the gay community, this is going to be seen as a step in the wrong direction. The general public is going to blame the gay community for these books being in schools, and the backlash is going to be bad. They don't belong in schools, and additionally, when you look at the type of material that's in these books, I don't care who you are or what your sexual orientation is. There's no need to teach kids about blowjobs and hand jobs and masturbation, especially between the ages of 5 and 8. That's obscene, and that's ridiculous. Additionally, they have books like one of which is called Flamer. As a gay man, that's disgusting. Are we going to put books? At the end of the day, that's a slur. Is really what I'm getting at here. The Flamer is a slur. Are we going to start putting books in libraries that describe Black people as the N-word, Latino people as the S-word, and Jews as the K-word? I don't think so. That's not right on any level, and that's why this type of material shouldn't be in our schools. Thanks for letting me speak today.
Thank you. And just a quick show of hands, how many more people are planning on speaking? Okay, thank you. Please introduce yourself in your 3 minutes. We'll begin.
Hi, my name is Kathy Stalick, and I'm a grandmother of 5, and I'm sickened and angered by what's happening and the agenda against our children and sexualizing them. There is pure praise for the epic fantasy novel entitled A Court of Thorns and Roses, written by Sarah J. Maas. USA Today reports that it is fiercely romantic, irresistibly sexy, and hypnotically magical, a veritable feast for the senses. Kirkus Reviews boasts that it hits the spot for fans of dark, lush, sexy fantasy. I'll now share a short synopsis of this intense tale. When 19-year-old Huntress Fairy kills a wolf in the woods, a terrifying creature arrives to demand retribution. Dragged to a treacherous magical land she knows about only from legends, Fairy discovers that her captor is not only truly a beast, but one of the lethal immortal fairies who once ruled her world. At least he's not a beast all the time. As she adapts to her new home, her feelings for the fairy Tamlin transform from icy hostility into a fiery passion that burns through every lie she's been told about the beautiful, dangerous world of the Fae. But something is not right in the fairylands. An ancient wicked shadow is growing, and Fairy must find a way to stop it or doom Tamlin and his world forever. Several passages that exemplify this viciously vibrant fairy fable include the following. His kissing was slower this time, gentler. The fingertips of his other hand slipped beneath the waist of my undergarment, and I sucked in a breath. He hesitated at the sound, pulling back slightly, but I bit his lip in a silent command that had him growling into my mouth. With one long claw, he shedded through silk and lace, and my undergarment fell away in pieces. The claw retracted, and his kiss deepened as his fingers slid between my legs, coaxing and teasing. I ground against his hand, yielding completely to the writhing wildness that had roared alive inside of me and breathed his name onto his skin. He lunged, a beast freed of its tether. We were a tangle of limbs and teeth, and I tore at his clothes until they were on the floor, then tore at his skin until I marked him down on his back and his arms. His claws were out, but devastatingly gentle on my hips as he slid down between my thighs and feasted on me, stopping only after I shuddered and fractured. I was moaning his name when he sheathed himself inside me in a powerful, slow thrust that had me splintering around him. We moved together, unending and wild and burning. And when I went over the edge the next time, he roared and went with me. Okay. It is perplexing to note that the trigger/content warning for this first book for the entire series is in domestic, sexual, emotional, and physical abuse, PTSD, anxiety, depression, graphic sexual sequences, graphic violence, and death. This is found in our Pikes Peak Library along with ebooks, and there are 11 books available there. This is just wrong. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Again, a quick reminder to respect the time, please. Our next speaker, please introduce yourself, and you can begin.
Yes, my name is Gary Voshik. I'm a 20-year resident of El Paso County, Commissioner Brummer's district. So thank you. I have two areas, arguments that left-leaning, those that support keeping these materials available, often use. One is the attempt to block introduction of obscene and bigoted materials into a school library is a violation of a child's First Amendment rights. Spreaders of this falsehood typically reference the 2 March 1982 Supreme Court decision in the Board of Education, Long Island Union Free School District number 26 versus Pico, as evidence, asserting that the rule confirms books cannot be removed from the school because it violates the Constitution. On the contrary, while the First Amendment was a point of consideration, the final judgment affirmed petitioners possess significant discretion to determine the content of their school libraries, but that discernment may not be exercised in a narrowly partisan or political manner. Meaning, so long as the justification for adding or removing a book is not, quote, orthodox in politics, nationalism, religion, or other matters of opinion, and their procedure is not highly irregular and ad hoc, a governing body is well within their legal rights to pursue such action, meaning the removal of that material. The other argument has to do with endorsements that object to such removal. These books are endorsed by national organizations, to include American Library Association, or School Board Library Journal, School Library Journal. This claim, sadly, is true. However, they don't tell you what else these institutions have endorsed. In 2001, the ALA and the American Civil Liberties Union joined forces and challenged the Children's Internet Protection Act because the law required public libraries to place blockers on their computers to prevent users from accessing pornography. As our district representatives, I request and impress upon you that you can influence the district attorney, DA, to act to follow through, forcing the school districts to follow the law and remove the books, and to do the same with the library board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Please introduce yourself, and your 3 minutes will begin.
My name is Sharon Ballou. I am Jazz. Okay. I Am Jazz is a children's book describing the childhood of co-author Jazz Jennings, saying, I have a girl's brain, but a boy's body. The book reads, this is called Transgender. I was born this way. This is written for kids from ages 4 to 8. This book is currently available to students in District 11, 20, and 49 in El Paso County, although it's generally banned across the country. This book describes Jazz's frustration with her parents, where they made her wear boys' clothes when they went out in public. Eventually, it covers her first visit to the doctor, who explained to her parents that she was transgender. It also briefly discusses frustrations with being told to use the boys' bathroom in school and play on the boys' soccer team. Published in 2014, I Am Jazz was one of the first transgender books available in school libraries. It introduces students to the fact that they may be in the wrong body and encourages them to pursue that possibility. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ron Hutchison. I am a father and a grandfather, and I have a little bit different, and I'm not reporting on a book. I'm reporting on all of those. My notes show that these books teach history, science, and art. They do not promote ideologies or activism. In the case of history, most authors openly admit that their stories are historical fiction. The practice of writing a creative story which occurs parallel to a widely known time or event. For science, it becomes more and more apparent each day that these activists, wild assertions being aligned with a scientific fact, are delusional and disingenuous. They think others are stupid enough to accept that. If they make the baseless claim, it will simply be believed. The nearest argument to the left with the claiming that these books are artistic, however, anyone who believes to the point on public sex offender opposing these children to sexual abnormalities is simply expressing their art deserve to be less than a spot on a public sex offenders registry. Several parents have reported that their children are coming home with homework involving research and reporting on a book after they are directed by their teachers to pick one out of the library. However, a lot of the teachers are choosing the list for them to choose from. And on those lists are the books that you're listening to, not specifically dealing with one. Some individuals are born with sexual, intersexual characteristics, even the features that do not match their individual sense in their own gender promoted in these books. As your representatives, as your constituent, I would request that you follow suit with contacting the DA's office to have the laws enforced to protect our children from the ridiculous things that you've heard already today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning. My name is Linda Taylor. I'm an El Paso County resident for 20 years, and I'm in Commissioner Williams' district. I am concerned about a book. It's called A Good Idea, a novel, which is currently found in Discovery Canyon and Rampart High Schools. The plot of the book is about a girl returning to her small hometown in Maine, seeking revenge for the death of her childhood best friend. The sections of the book I find inappropriate and unnecessary to the story are descriptions of sexual activities, drug use, anti-God, and lesbian sexual scenes. On page 29, so I knew Rebecca had lost her virginity last spring at a party. page 34. Sensing my urgency, he dispensed with the formalities and got down to the awkward business of trying to pull my jeans off over my sneakers. Page 98, I joined the dozen or so kids oscillating between the den and the back deck, grabbing a beer from a cooler and wishing I had one of Serena's blue pills to get me through this. Page 105, again, she didn't answer. Instead, she reached into the cup holder and popped several Vicodin. Page 106, I don't believe there's a bearded man in the sky, like monitoring our thoughts and willing to send me to hell for masturbating or liking girls. I don't believe in fate, and I don't believe that everything happens for a reason. Page 190, I came in less than a minute, my thighs shuddering, whole body convulsing in a way not unlike when I had gotten sick in the bathrooms. Page 240, I took off her shirt and laid her down on the floor, unfastening her jeans, pulling them down, my hand between her legs. She whimpered as I touched her, turning her face away from mine, grimacing and arching her back, fingers splayed out and flexing against the rug as her breathing came faster and faster until she cried out, wordless, guttural, and I watched as she came and went to that secret inward place, until slowly she returned, panting, opening her eyes and smiling at me and pulling me closer so she could kiss me. Inappropriate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Wee woo. Jeannie Rush, constituent, very concerned grandmother, great-grandmother, one really mad grandmother. Rape of our culture, of our children's minds, of our very existence as humans has been conducted in plain sight for decades, but has surfaced in greater ways daily in our nation as well as our world. What are we going to do about it? Whether it's with mental or physical mutilation of our children, they are the prey. Through our federal laws such as Title IX, its amendment, state laws enacted even in this year to strip parental rights from protecting their own children at age 12 or younger. Behind the scenes, we are being violated as they are being violated. American School Counselors Association and all others, part of the Department of Education, have totally usurped our rights as parents, giving our children to the same state constantly employing Marxist takeover tactics to control more and more of our lives, both personal and public. The roots of this sick agenda go back to World War II and beyond, Frankfurt School, Germany, and many other, World Economic Forum, the WHO, the UN, all corrupted to our children. Even the school counselors can counsel your children, convince them to do anything using CEL, CRT, DEI, and a host of illegal programs. The sickness transfers into the books, the videos, the computer programs to capture the minds of the young and to normalize what can only be characterized as rape of our kids. We, our society, would not tolerate this in the workplace. We would have lawsuits. But here we allow this to happen to our children, and we don't even stand up at school boards. We've spent 2 years fighting. I'm one of the band from D49 for pointing out what they've done to kids with their billions of dollars of CEL, CRT, DEI, and sicko programs. And we are not going to stop. I won't till the last drop of my blood. So you've gotten email after email from me in the last weeks, even for the last 2 years. Please look at the inserts, and you do have power because they're circumventing state law. Title IX, none of that can stop the violation of the real laws. And I'm asking you, just like everybody else did here, let's all get together. I think we need to have this meeting at the city council, the school boards, and we need to stop this in the bud. I'm very frustrated and alarmed by what is happening. And this picture was city council where I showed a naked man's butt at a kid-friendly drag show where they sell books and everything, and they couldn't stop that. But you can stop a massage parlor having happy endings. I say, bull hockey, we need to stop this. Gammy Sparkles here.
Hi, Board. My name is Claudia Graver. I'm a parent in D20. I was a D20 sub. I recently got fired for taking photos of LGBT propaganda that was plastered all over the high schools. This is more pervasive and insidious than anybody knows. I came to talk about a book, but I want to talk about a little something else right now. You say that this isn't your lane. Then whose lane is it? The districts are not listening to the parents. They're not listening to the majority of concerned parents. 2 years ago, when I was a teacher at Challenger Middle School, across the hallway from me was a elective teacher, Mr. Cody Maynard. He was teaching my son, an 8th grader, about gender ideology, telling him that gender is a societal construct, having them read a book about a non-binary guinea pig named Peanut Butter, and having them write a paragraph using they, them pronouns. My son refused. He came to me, and I went to the admin, I went to the board, and I got involved because I realized something really insidious was going on in the schools. So if it's not your lane, whose lane is it? I challenged this book. This book is gay at Pine Creek High School. The principal there told me I'm not allowed to have an opinion. Then where do I go? Who is allowed to have an opinion, and why does she not have an opinion? You're supposed to have an opinion, and it should be in the best interest of our children. Remember the whole reason you have a job? So I tell you what, though, she had enough of an opinion to bring in a panel of 10 to vote me and my husband down. She had enough of an opinion to get the policy changed the night before our review. That's what us parents are dealing with at the district level, and that's why we're here, because we're angry and we're tired of this. This is not America. This is not freedom. So in the end, I really don't want to read this book. It's very disgusting, but I will read one last statement one of the last statements in this book. The same smorgasbord of sexual activities is available to trans people as to gay or straight people. Any hole is a goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Please remember to introduce yourself in your 3 minutes. We'll begin.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Todd Watkins. I'm the Vice Chairman of the El Paso County Republican Party. That book was gay, and it's available to our kids. Think about this. If Jack and Jill went up the hill and had wild sex on top of it because they were madly in love, it was consensual, they were married, that book would not be discussed here today because that book would be appropriately placed and available to adults. Rightfully so. We have learned through eons of human development at what age a human being is right and developed enough and mature enough to engage in a sex lifestyle, to be aware of sexuality and procreate, which is actually what sex is for, is procreation, but I mean that gets lost today, right? So why then is aberrant, abnormal behavior tolerated, even given special dispensation in our communities, in our societies, and through our governmental agencies to expose children who are have not reached sexual maturity to that type of information, to be almost inspired to explore those avenues of aberrant, abnormal behavior. If my Jack and Jill story included, say, a violent rape, drug use, and a pedophilic encounter, it'd probably be in the library shelves. It'd probably be on the school shelves because it conforms to the stories that I've been hearing today. It really is up to us, right? Whether you're elected officials, this isn't your lane. Believe me, I get that. I worked long enough in government to know what the different lanes are, and thou shalt not cross one branch to the other. But as adults, as human beings, shouldn't we know better? Shouldn't we be doing the right thing? What you've been presented with today, it's not only morally reprehensible, it's actually illegal. I don't see how anybody could really belabor or bend reality and rational thought to make this okay, or say that no, this isn't perverse, this isn't obscene. One of the statutes that was cited today defines obscenity as an affront to current community standards of tolerance. Don't you see an agenda here? If normal heteronormative behavior is obscene, and rightfully placed to the appropriate audiences because of age. Why is this being tolerated? Why is this being given a pass? Thank you.
Hello, Annette Yeba. The book Identical was rated for age 14. It is in the PPLD as a hard copy ebook audio format. It's in School District 2, 3, 11, 14, and District 20, and it's a book that should not be available to minors. I tiptoe past Daddy's snoring. I ease the wild turkey from the table. I chance a sip of the turkey. I have to wet my tongue before letting the oxy dissolve. Slowly, nasty, another sip. I guess I could have offered a description of Daddy's privates, his word, the way he wears his scars. I love you so much, my little flower. Daddy needs something from my girl, my sweet Rose. Will you give it to me? I want you to see something that proves how much I love you. This is only for you, Kaylee girl. He opens the snap on the fly of his flannel pajamas. It stood up, stiff as a stalagmite. See how much Daddy loves you? Show me how much you love me too. Touch it. He closed her hands around it. He pulls out a baggie, a quarter full of some crumbly brown substance. When he cracks the bag, the perfume that escapes smells like heaven. Opiated hash. Ever try it? I shake my head no, but Ty is quick to remedy that by filling a small pipe bowl with a miniature ball of opium-laced hashish. It is then that I notice the nylon cord, one end tied tight to the headboard. Ty's voice is almost a snarl. This is one of my favorite games. He wraps the rope around my wrists. He flips me onto my belly and yanks my legs apart. I don't have to see the restraints to know that they're there. The ankle knots do not surprise me. I am helpless, exposed, and strangely somehow I feel like this is home this way. Somehow I feel at home this way. We need to see about getting these books taken out of the school system, so please support our DAs.
Thank you for your comments today.
Following the statutes. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Good morning. My name is Christy Davis. I am a resident and mother in El Paso County, as well as the chapter chair of Moms for Liberty. I am here today to speak to you about a problem that has come to my attention in our public schools across El Paso County. Our school libraries contain sexually explicit materials that are made available to our children in grades K through 12. In most cases, this material contains a warning that states it is intended for audiences over the age of 18 and may be illegal in some states. These books are found in our high schools, middle schools, and even elementary schools. The books in question contain detailed pornographic content that is not only inappropriate, but also has no academic value. As a parent with two very young children in one of El Paso County's public schools, I find this very disturbing. I was approached to look over a petition put together by another concerned parent to ask our district attorney, Michael Allen, to follow Colorado law and to help to ensure these materials are no longer made available to minor children, and I signed that petition. There are laws in place to keep things such as alcohol and tobacco out of schools, and this is no different. This ask is not about censoring material, as I have heard others say. This is about ensuring that our public schools contain age-appropriate and education-rich content, free of sexually explicit materials. Taxpayers expect their money is going to academic advancing materials, and parents need to be able to trust that in our absence, schools are protecting our children. During the school day, I am unavailable to be with my children when they are browsing the shelves. Parents will not see the material their children have chosen until or unless it is brought home. At the public library, I am with them and I can vet the materials. There's a huge difference. To keep the trust of parents, the school staff and our elected bodies need to ensure that our schools contain content that is appropriate for our minor children. For instance, my children's school, kindergartners are only allowed to check out books that will remain in the school. They get the opportunity to check them out and bring them home once they hit first grade. When I hear about the titles that my kindergarten child could have been exposed to in our public schools, it keeps me up at night. Please speak to the DA and advocate for him to hold schools accountable to our current laws to keep these sexually explicit materials out of the hands of our minor children. If parents or guardians wish to expose this content to their children, they should do so in their home environment where they can control the situation. This content should not be in our schools where our children are supposed to be learning academics. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there any others wishing to speak on any item not on the agenda today? Okay. Make your way down. I think we have, what, three or four more? Okay.
Hi, I am John Heimsoth, and I'm a concerned grandparent, and honorable commissioners, I thank you for listening. And I just want to point out that there's a book that I really do not like being in any of our libraries, but it is in District 3, District 11, District 20, and Penrose, and the 21C libraries. And it's a pornographic book. It's smut. And anyway, it's supposed to be a autobiographical young adult graphic novel for ages 14 plus. I'm 6 months shy of 80, and I wouldn't even want this at my age even. It's not appropriate for anybody's age. So anyway, it's written by Mike Corrado, and he is a Boy Scout person. Anyway, there is a content warning within the book, and why would this even be in our school libraries or any library? And I'm going to read just one. It's embarrassing to even do this. One statement in here is, we each are busting a load into this bottle. If you don't, you'll have to drink it. And then they laugh, and there's some other stuff in here. It's vile. We shouldn't even have this kind of stuff in our libraries. And the only thing I'm going to ask of you is to support the DA if he does anything at all, and that you would make a public proclamation and say that we do not support any of these here pornographic smut books, literature in any of the libraries, whether it be school libraries or public libraries. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Nancy Weil. I'm a citizen and I'm a property owner. I brought 14 copies of tax bills, property tax bills, all El Paso County. There are 7 items that are paid out of every property tax bill. 2 of them are, in these particular bills, Colorado Springs District 11 and Pikes Peak Library District. Those 2, the sum of both of those property tax allocations are about 82% of our tax bills being collected in El Paso County. So that is what is cited on these tax bills. What is not paid on our tax bills are things like the Boys and Girls Clubs, Marion House, Springs Rescue Mission, other local charities. So we are funding these books, and it's not, so here I'm going to show another book. Not that we need to cite any more books. I think everyone has seen. This is mild. This is a little children's book that is in the public libraries, and here's it right here, Pikes Peak LD, funded by our tax dollars. So here's what our request is. We can see that a very strong opposition to these types of, I won't call them literature, we'll call them publications. They're certainly not works of art. But what we're urging you as city council members, as county commissioners, paid by our tax dollars, is to cease the funding of this. It's criminal. This is criminal activity. So we're asking you as citizens, that our taxpayers and our voters, to do whatever it takes to get these criminal books out of our public libraries and our public schools, which are funded 82% of our property tax bills. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good morning. I'm Ruby Bryant. I'm totally disgusted at this point. I don't know how much more I can handle, but I'm here to stand before you. I have 3 books before me that are all in all the schools via PPLD, online access to read or to listen. The books are Eleanor and Park, More Happy Than Not, Monday's Not Coming. 3 quotes, and these are also located specifically in D11, D20, and D49. The first one, Eleanor and Park. I know you're a slut, you smell like cum, I believe. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that. In More Happy Than Not her face is now her face is facing my dick, and it's awkward because she's never seen it. Book number 3, Monday's Not Coming. She did her homework, and you ate her coochie? These are also located in Library 21C as an audio book as well. As county commissioners, I know that you cannot control the school boards or our library, but we are asking that as leaders in our community, that you take a stand against the obscenity that you are hearing that is not only in our schools, but also in digital and audio format available to the students in all our county. We implore you to hold the DA's feet to the fire, to pursue the material to be expunged from the schools, and use your influence with our county library board trustees to prevent minors from accessing this material based on the actual material and not on some age rating done by a liberal book publisher. We know Commissioner Geithner and Commissioner Gonzalez have been on this board, and maybe you weren't aware of this material before, but you are learning about it today. Take the new board's hand and walk with them through getting this done. Some of these books are designed to confuse children. Some teach promiscuity, they promote mixing drugs and alcohol, incest, and are just plain pornographic. What's pornography? Well, a well-quoted line by Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart in 1964 said, "I know it when I see it." I am sure you will agree that what you see and hear today is just that. Sadly, the books are put into the school libraries without anyone actually reading or looking at the book. They read the review or the description, and a couple of teachers and parents deem it okay. Or the perpetrators have an agenda and know exactly what mess they're putting in those libraries. Who is reading and approving age appropriation for PPLD? Is it the board members? Thank you for your attention.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Sharon Courtry. Teachers, librarians, and left-leaning have their own realities. From the back section of the petition that you were given, talking about number of checkouts. These books have never or hardly been checked out. The number of times smut has been checked out from a school library isn't even remotely a logical or legal argument for keeping it. Yet multiple individuals try to include BOE member Will Tembley. It's nowhere in Academy District's 20's existing policy, much less in the state or federal law, is this assertion considered a litmus test for appropriateness. Secondly, looking for trouble. These parents went to the school libraries looking for these books. Once again, BOE member Heather Klongner made false assertions that the parents want to shift away the focus from this presence of questionable material in the school libraries. Even if these allegations were true, which they aren't, it doesn't neutralize the culpability of the depraved activists and groups overwhelming school libraries with sexually explicit filth. As you are our district representatives, you've heard this before, we're just asking for any assistance, influence that you can present to see if Michael Allen, the DA, will act upon, follow through with forcing the school districts to follow the law and remove the books. Please, the obscene and inappropriate materials in these school library sections are breaking the law. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Ann Easton, and I'm a former teacher in D49, and I've been interested in what's been happening in D49 for some time, and it's spilling over into many other things. I am here to tell you about the book. It's called The Art of Racing in the Rain, and it's also questionable as being in our schools. The book is rated for 10-year-olds. It is in districts 11, 14, 23, and 38, including elementary schools. In Pikes Peak Library District, there's 2 hard copies, 3 CD books, online ebook, and an audio book that's also there. It's a story about from the perspective of a dog who dies, along with the mother who dies from a long, drawn-out illness. There are numerous websites that state this book is not for young children due to the content, such as sexuality, nudity, profanity, and alcohol use, and it violates the Miller test and the Colorado obscenity tests. I'm going to read just a tiny bit from it. First one, they fell onto bed and he mounted her and she said, "The field is fertile, beware." And he said, "I embrace the fertility." And he plowed the field until it's grasped the sheets and in its fists arched its backs and cried out with joy. Next one, of course she had the advantage of her tongue and her thumbs, and when I watched her kiss and fondle him, sometimes she would glance at me and wink as if to gloat. Look at my thumbs, see what they can do. Remember, this is a dog's perspective. The smell would have given me an erection if I still had testicles. And the last one, he forced himself on a young girl. That's rape. And if he's stupid enough to get caught with his pants down and his pecker in his fist, you're going to be damn sure I'm going to seize the moment. Then imagine having her parents attack you mercilessly in order to gain custody of your daughter. Imagine that they exploit allegations of sexual molestation. This book can be accessed by any minor. In most schools now, there isn't really a librarian or somebody watching. The kids can go and access it as they want. There's very little supervision in the public schools for libraries. They can access this. The material we ask is not suited for young ears. We ask that you request the DA to push hard to get these books removed. I wanted just to add something. What if our founding fathers simply said, "That's not our jurisdiction. We can't do anything about that"? What if no one ever stood up for situations they knew were wrong? What if no one ever said, "That's enough"? You do have the power to make changes if you aren't afraid to stand up for what's right. To represent the people who voted for you into office, thinking you represent us, your constituents. You think you're in a little box of what you can do and what you can't. It's time to change your thinking, and it's time to change your actions.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Desra Conrad, and I'm a 15-year resident, a mom, and a grandma. I have a different book to talk about. What if this was taught in our schools? Expand our thinking again. It once was posted in our school, the 10 Commandments. Now, I know the petition didn't talk about that, but just think about raising kids up to higher standards instead of lowering them down. I have a couple scriptures, sorry. These children are made by God. And in Psalm 139, he says, "For you formed my inner parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I will give thanks and praise to you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, and my soul knows it very well. My name was not hidden from you when I was being formed in secret, and intricately and skillfully formed, as if embroidered with many colors in the depths of the earth. Your eyes have seen my unformed substance, and in your book were all written the days that were appointed for me, when as yet there was not one of them even taking shape." What that tells us is God is the one who created each one of them. He created them in his image, male and female, it says in Genesis. And he also references the fact that he is the potter and we're just the clay. How do we tell God what gender we are? How do we tell him how he made a mess of us? What is that telling children except that they're a mistake? And they are not a mistake. They are fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are his works. Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But God, he says, I came that they may have and enjoy life and have it in abundance. So often they say these kids are going to be suicidal if you don't honor what they feel like today. But that's not what the Bible says, and we know better, don't we? We know that God came to bring life and bring it abundantly if they accept, if we were to affirm who they actually are and not just what they feel like today. Sometimes kids feel like they're Batman or Superman and can fly. Is that reality? No, that's called imagination, right? Sorry, I'm getting worked up. So children are a heritage of the Lord. Children, also it says in Ephesians 6:1, children, obey your parents in the Lord. That is accept their guidance and discipline as his representatives, for this is right, so that it may be well with you and that you may have a long life. That's what we need to, can I do one more?
Please wrap up your comments.
Okay, the last one I have is finally, whatever is true, whatever is honorable and worthy of respect, whatever is right and confirmed by God's word, whatever is pure and wholesome, whatever is lovely and brings peace, whatever is admirable and of good repute. If there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think continually on these things. Center your mind on them and implant them in your heart. Thank you so much for listening to all of us. There's one more person.
Thank you.
Good morning, commissioners. I want to thank you for your service. I'm here to pray for you, for our local government. I would like to call upon the living God to intervene in our county. My name is Terry Euland. I've been a resident here for 28 years, and we are at a point of alarm. So we thank God in Jesus' name for the service and the courage that our elected and appointed officials that were willing to say yes and step in their respective offices. Lord, we lift up the El Paso County, the city of Colorado Springs and outlying areas, all those who serve in our regional and local government. We ask that you would give our commissioners and all of those who are serving a spirit of wisdom from the Lord himself. We ask that the Lord will rest upon them, give them strength, give them courage, give them the wherewithal to be used as servants of the living God and to do what is right in these times of peril. We ask that the spirit of wisdom and understanding would be upon our elected and serving officials, the spirit of counsel, the spirit of might, the spirit of knowledge, and the spirit of the reverential and obedient fear of the Lord. Cause our leaders to be strengthened in this time. Let them speak as they hear from the living God and be bold to stand in the gap for those who cannot defend or take care of themselves. Lord, we ask that you would pour out upon them the spirit of courage and the spirit of righteousness, justice, and equity. And we pray that our communities will be strengthened and grow, and that you will do a great and mighty work in the El Paso County, in our cities, in our communities. We pray for peace. We pray for the fear of the Lord, and that you would do a great work. We thank you in Jesus' name for these servants. They've been called to serve in government, and we bless them in the name of the Lord. Amen.
Okay, do we have any other members of the public wishing to speak on any item today? Please introduce yourself, and your 3 minutes will begin.
Finally, something well within your lane that I wish wasn't, but it's come to that. My name is Jeremy Atkinson, and I am a homeowner and a customer in the Cherokee Metropolitan Water District. It was brought to my attention 2 weeks ago that the manager of Cherokee, Amy Lathan, a former county commissioner, had been in discussions with your legal counsel regarding a vacant seat on the water board during the stipulated time given to their board to appoint a new member. During the same 60-day period, 2 members of that board denied the customers and the voters of Cherokee their democratic rights by refusing to entertain any applicant for the seat besides Dennis Daniels. Before they could even introduce themselves, Steve Hasbrook interrupted the meeting and proclaimed he would not consider anyone but his friend. Linda Kelleher, a fellow member, proceeded to do the same thing, and stating her first choice was Dennis, and shut down the conversation to any other votes. At the previous meeting, Linda agreed to allow voters in the district to apply for the position, and 6 additional people did. When it was discovered that they would block any appointment to the vacant seat other than Dennis Daniels, and that the manager was in conversation with your legal counsel, who had set the preliminary meeting to discuss this for today, just 3 days past the deadline for them to handle it, I felt I had no choice but to quickly create a petition to stop what was happening. It was clear that the 3 of them had decided to simply run out the clock and take the decision out of Cherokee's hands and give the decision to you, where they felt they would get what they wanted while keeping their hands clean. In 2 short weeks, I was able to accumulate nearly 500 signatures on a petition that clearly states we do not want Dennis Daniels reappointed to that seat. In May, he was routed in his bid for re-election, only receiving 143 votes. He came in a very distant 3rd place to 2 first-time challengers that had roughly 400 votes each. We didn't want him on the board then. The board clearly doesn't want him on there now, and the voice of the voters is still a defiant no. While I only had 2 weeks to gather signatures and was only able to reach roughly 1/3 of the customers in Cherokee, imagine how much louder that no would be if I had reached them all. Commissioner Geithner, you said in a meeting just 2 weeks ago, and you reiterated it this morning, that it is imperative that this Board of Commissioners listen to the voice of the voters, and I would implore you to heed that wisdom. We deserve better than Dennis Daniels, And we ask that you deliver on that promise to listen to us and not to disgruntled board members and a former commissioner. I've already collected enough signatures to nearly double the amount those board members received in their previous election. I've received 10 more while we've been in here. And by this time next week, I will have passed that number. The people are speaking loudly that they want better and they deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public wishing to speak on any item not on today's agenda? Any online? Okay. Thank you. I'm going to move then to item, Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just going to, we've obviously had a lot of comments today, and I think that it's worth just putting a few things on the record. So I first want to say and acknowledge that I understand the frustration of many of the individuals that came here today. I'm a mom. I have 2 boys, and I know how very difficult it is in today's time, especially, to continue to protect them from all the things out in the world that I don't think they're ready for yet. That's everywhere. That's on the television at home. I see, the little ratings that we now have on TV that we didn't have when I was a kid. And I can't believe that anyone would let their child of those ages watch some of the things that are on TV. I would make an argument that many of these standard television shows that are out there on cable today are pornographic. And I don't appreciate those things in my home, and I certainly try my very best to protect my children from them. And I use all kinds of tools to be able to do that. It's difficult to navigate. So I understand the concerns, and I understand that there's a lot of passion and a lot of, quite frankly, frustration on how to move this issue forward. I can say that without a doubt, some of the things that were presented here today are not appropriate to be in schools. I agree that taxpayer dollars should not be used to purchase things of that nature that are going into school libraries. There's a big difference between what can be widely available in the world, to one individual's comment, and what should be presented and accessible to our kids at school. But there's also a lot of disagreement, and I heard even a little bit of that today. I heard some people say these things shouldn't be allowed in any libraries, including the Pikes Peak Library District. I heard another mother say, it's okay if they're there where I can chaperone my kids. So there is some level of disagreement on what these things should be and what is age appropriate. I think we could all nod our heads and say things should be age appropriate, but we probably wouldn't agree, to the point of what I just said about some of the TV shows that have the age 14 on it, and I won't let my nearly 16-year-old watch that. So it is very complicated as we start talking about how to actually put those things into place. I will say, I trust Michael Allen. I believe that he will do the right thing, and I don't believe in pressuring prosecutors. I believe they should look at the law, look at the facts, and make the decision, and I trust Michael to do that. On the school districts, I talk to school board members often. I've been involved in elections to try and influence where my tax dollars are being spent too. And so I do understand and have those, and I'm going to speak very specifically to the Pikes Peak Library District, because that's the place that there actually is the most relationship to what we do here. Commissioner Gonzalez and I both do serve as liaisons to that board, but it's changed over time. I've been a liaison to that board since I came to be a county commissioner, and I have not been silent on this issue. If you have spent any time, whether listening to these meetings or maybe following some of my social media, you would know that I'm very vocal about the problems that we are facing in our society and our schools, especially related to kids. I continue to be that way, and I will continue to be that way because it's just too important. I agree, it's just too important to our kids. When I became a liaison to the library board, there were a lot of things going on in the world, COVID being one of those. There were a lot of issues that constituents came to me about related to the library. If you didn't read about it in the paper, there was a pretty big uproar when the liaisons made a recommendation a couple of years ago to not renew a member of the library board. And I was happy to lead that charge. And the reason that I led that had to do with many things that I thought were inappropriate going on in the library, including one of the things that was going on, which was a craft time of RuPaul drag queen dress-up dolls. I've said it in public many times, and I'll continue to say it. That is not the proper place for small kids to be doing craft time. That's an agenda-pushing decision. I spoke out about it again then. I continue to speak out against it today. So I appreciate your concerns. Do not think that they have fallen on deaf ears. There continue to be efforts to make changes from my end to make sure that we are providing the very best safe places for our kids in our community to the very greatest extent. There was a lot of, we've got media here today. There was a lot of media. In fact, the city council refused to agree to the appointment for a while. And it's a joint appointment. So there have been those things. And I would just invite you to continue to see the things that are happening in your community, continue to advocate, and know that there is a whole lot of concern about this. And I'll let my colleagues speak for themselves, certainly. But there has been advocacy on this front by this board, and I know I will continue to do that because it's not just about my kids, it's about all of the kids in our community. So thank you for your advocacy, and also just know that as you say things about different lanes, we have very specific legal parameters that we can operate in, but that doesn't mean, in my case in particular, that I'm not using my voice in other areas as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Geithner. All right, are we ready to move on then to item number 10?
Item number 10 is the called up consent calendar, and there are no items called up.
And before we move on to item number 11, we're going to take a brief recess. I will call back to order this Tuesday, December 12th meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. We are now on item number 10, or item number 11.
Item number 11, resolution to grant a quitclaim deed from El Paso County to Whitefield School District 3 for Tract B, Morning Sun 1, and to approve an intergovernmental agreement regarding use of the property. Lori Seco, Senior Assistant County Attorney.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I don't have any visual aids, so I'm just going to talk for a second. Whitefield School District number 3 currently owns a vacant 9-acre parcel that was granted to them by El Paso County in the mid-'80s. El Paso County had received the parcel as part of a subdivision process pursuant to state and local law that requires the dedication of school sites in connection with subdivision. When El Paso County granted it to the school district, it contained a reverter clause in the deed that said that the property would automatically be revert back to the county if it was not in fact used for a school site. Fast forward to today, it's almost 40 years later. In the intervening years, Whitefield School District has determined that it does not in fact need that piece of property for a school site, but would like to use it for a purpose which they believe serves their interests. And that interest is to partner with Pikes Peak Habitat for Humanity, convey the parcel to that organization. Pikes Peak Habitat for Humanity will build affordable housing on that parcel and dedicate, it's my understanding, up to 14 units to be available to Whitefield School District teachers and other employees who otherwise qualify for the program in order to assist the district with recruiting and retaining qualified personnel to serve their students and their community. In order to do that, that reverter clause needs to be removed. So what is before you today is an intergovernmental agreement with the school district in which the county agrees to grant them a quitclaim deed which removes that language. That would enable the district to convey the property to Pikes Peak Habitat for Humanity. And the intergovernmental agreement also calls for the school district to provide and report back to the county certain information over a period of years so that we can try to assess in partnership with the district whether or not this is in fact a successful program and whether or not it has benefited the district to use the property in that way. I believe that there are representatives from Habitat for Humanity in the school district here if you have any questions, and I'm also available if you need anything from me. That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez.
No, thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a question for legal. With the reversion, this isn't a property that would come back to the county and then we could sell it and then use it for general fund issues for the county, right? So this isn't something where we're giving up taxpayer funds for something we could use for general funds.
That's correct. If the property were to be sold for non-school purposes, the money would go to the school district to be used for their purposes.
Any other questions or comments? Do we have any of the representatives that would like to make any comments today? Okay. Discussion and/or a motion? Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on this item? Any online? Okay. Are there any comments or a motion?
Did you want to make the motion or do you want me to?
I'll be more than willing to make the motion to approve item 11.
I will second that.
Is there any further discussion? Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you. So we've done quite a bit of discussion of this in public, so I do feel like we've been very transparent on this. But to kind of recap for anyone who might have missed some of those things, I'm going to be in support of this today, but I do think that it's very important that anytime the government is assessing any type of tax or fee, that we have really a big responsibility to have good oversight over that. And in this case, it's very unique. And I know that this is brought to us as a pilot program. And so the IGA reflects language that is going to help us evaluate whether this is successful. I have been kind of clear that I think that there is other interest around something similar to this. And it's very important that, to me, that we have good ways of assessing that and making sure that it does fulfill the purpose for which it was collected. So I appreciate the attention that went into the IGA so that we could ensure that, and look forward to seeing truly what the impact is for the school district. But I will be in support.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I will also be in support of this quitclaim deed. And I appreciate the interaction that we have had with the developer and the school district and Habitat for Humanity. And I think there's some key things coming out of this. And a little of this includes a willingness for the county and these folks that are in this process, a willingness to trust each other, because a little of this was also could have been, we could have retained the quitclaim deed. It had the purpose of this property been for something not akin to that, to the requirements that we have. But in my opinion, I think the people that we are working with here with the IGA have every intention of delivering that. You know, working with Habitat for Humanity, this is going to be a process about trying to provide affordable housing or attainable housing immediately adjacent to a school with an expressed purpose to try to help the teachers that do not live on big salaries to have a place to live near the school. That is, in my humble opinion, exceptionally beneficial. So I appreciate the declared intent of this, and I really look forward to seeing this play out. And then coming back to just a generalization with regard to this, this is a process about getting more affordable housing into our community, and I consider that to be beneficial as well. And I know that this board has done so many things in the past, and this one now also included, about getting more housing stock into the community to address the cost of housing. This just becomes another action along that pathway that I think is also important. So I wanted to make those points and thank everybody that has been thoughtful with regard to this quitclaim deed and this IGA in allowing us to go forward with, I think, some great principles.
Thank you. Very well said. I think, you know, we did have a work session on this item, discussed it fairly thoroughly several times, and there was a lot of direction kind of given at that or discussed of ways we could head with the potential of this property and our options in front of us at that work session. And I wanted to commend everyone who's here today to hopefully see this pass, that you give yourselves a pat on the back for sticking in there, for working with kind of some of the ideas that were born out of that work session. I am excited about seeing some metrics on this. I'm excited about an innovative and collaborative way to address kind of three big issues all at once, right? You've got workforce development, you've got housing, and of course, you know, the logistical land use issues that came up during this. So I wanted to commend all of the partners. I know that we have, if you guys don't want to get up and speak, you certainly don't have to, but I will recognize that we have school district representatives here. We have the nonprofit partner who will actually do the building, Habitat for Humanity. Chris, feel free to stand up. And then also in this, in the mix of the proposed plan for this, and a board member with Habitat as well, we also have Careers in Construction that is standing ready to ensure that that this is a completely baked and feasible idea. And I'm excited to see it work. With that, are there any other comments? Thank you for being here today. And thank you to our county attorney's office for going back and forth and putting it in a place where everybody feels comfortable and excited about supporting this today. So thank you. Any other final comments? With that, I will call the roll. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Congratulations, and thank you for your patience. Item number 12.
Item number 12, resolution to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Colorado Springs for traffic signal maintenance. Kevin Maston, Executive Director, Department of Public Works.
I got worn out this morning.
The ONOFF. Yeah, that's
Mr. Maston.
good afternoon, Commissioners.
That's a Thunderbird pilot for you.
Yeah, I know. I was going to make a similar comment.
Hey, the crew chief always took care of everything. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Today I'm here to basically present an overview of the intergovernmental agreement that we are proposing with the City of Colorado Springs for our traffic signal maintenance. And I'll just provide some of the highlights for the IGA itself. We currently have 54 traffic control signals throughout the county that we are maintaining. It requires a team of 4 people to do that, a signals technician, team lead, signals technician, and then 2 assistant signals technicians. We currently only have 1 assistant signal technician at this point, and it's been that way for about a year to a year and a half now. Hiring and retention of people has been a challenge. We have been able to fill the positions momentarily or for a short period of time, but we have not been able to retain those positions. And as a result, we have fallen behind in our maintenance of our traffic signals in the county. The reason we pursued the IGA with the city is the city is currently have an IGA with the state doing 76 of CDOT's traffic signals throughout the area. Currently, we're spending about $448,000 a year to do traffic signal maintenance. The reason it's that expensive is we also have average contracted costs as well to compensate or to basically fill in the gaps where we don't have technicians available. The IGA cost itself is roughly what we're paying right now. There is an initial upfront cost of $254,000 that I'll talk about here momentarily. And then that first year actual maintenance cost is $194,648, and that'll be our recurring cost beginning with the second year as well. The unexpected savings of this is about $250,000 a year that we're saving by getting the IGA with the city. The other reason for the city is the city actually has an enterprise that does this. They have highly qualified teams, and they have several more people that do this. The advantage here that we have is that it's regionalized traffic signal maintenance. This is good for our citizens because it's going to increase the efficiency, consistency, and safety oversight for all of our connected corridors. When you're coming in from the outlying areas in the county into the city, the traffic signalization will be one. It'll be basically one enterprise now to hopefully improve our traffic flow throughout the area. And our basically traveling public will be the greatest benefactor in this. The highlights for this are responsibilities for the county. There is a one-time payment, and that is for the acceptance of the traffic signals. And this is to cover initial inspections, communications upgrades, controller upgrades, and signal timing. And this is one of the big problems we have with our signals in the county. We'll go out to a site where there's a problem. You'll open the cabinet. If you grab the bundle of wires that's in there, very often the insulation just cracks and falls off, requiring the entire thing to be rebuilt. We have some very, very outdated signal control boxes. Providing annual payment to cover the time and the material of the city's responsibilities, and that was at $194,000 a year cost. The city's responsibilities, they'll perform annual inspections of all the equipment, they'll respond to any emergency calls, and they'll conduct any needed repairs, and they'll set and modify the signal timing to make it match up with the timing and the signals in the city. There are concerns about some of the signalization in the city, but the city is working that. That is something that they're attacking so that we get one, the word just escaped me here, but the bottom line is our entire area to improve the traffic flow throughout the entire area, whether you're in the city or whether you're in the county. And that's the general highlights, pending any questions.
Are there any questions? Comments? Any members of the public wishing to speak on this item? None online.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So just, we asked this the other day, there's no red light running cameras or anything like that being installed or anything, because the public does ask us those kind of questions.
We in the county do not have any devices that tell whether a person has actually proceeded through a signalized intersection when they were not supposed to do that.
And so we won't be doing that. So thank you. And then the other one is I just appreciate the fact that we've done a couple of IGAs here working collaboratively with the municipalities. That's saving us money. And I think that should be noted. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I appreciate, as always, the great work that we did here. To Commissioner Gonzalez's point, it is now another example. We have to still vote, but it may very well soon be another example of collaboration between the city and the county. And I just want to thank our colleagues in the city for their willingness to do this. It was interesting also to receive your presentation about this, that the city was already doing that with CDOT. So there was a very logical pathway here that seemed to make, a lot of sense. I guess I do have one question. You might not have a good answer to it, but or maybe you know it right off the top of your head. How many signals does the city have? I know it's a lot.
They're several hundred. I say several. I mean, they're in the hundreds for how many they actually have. I don't know the exact number.
Yeah, it's a large number. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Williams.
Thank you for saving us money. So we appreciate it. I know that you're looking at prioritizing roads, and I know that I've expressed which ones need to be prioritized first, but we appreciate that, and hopefully those savings can be used to pave some much-needed neighborhoods in everyone's district.
Yes.
Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you. So similar to my colleagues here, just thank you for looking for ways to save us money and provide better services to citizens. I know that overall, as we have continued to put a focus on our core services and really want to maintain our roads, that this is a big piece of that. It's something that I hear about occasionally, whether it's light timing or the response times when lights go out. And so I'm very much looking forward to seeing both of those pieces, improved services and also savings for the county. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. If I can just really quick, Tim Stickler, Highway Manager, was the driving force behind getting this put together, as well as Jack Ladley. It was their work that made this happen.
Excellent. Good to know. Well, thank you for the dedication of those employees and all of yours that continue to look for ways to do things better and more efficiently. This is just another example of that, but I think it's a pretty significant one that will have some impact seen by our citizens very quickly. The other thing I kind of wanted to bring up is we are in a really unique county with a huge land mass, and we have these urban sections, and it is urbanizing. There was a time when Commissioner Geithner's district didn't have any lights, right? And nor were they really dreamed of in a region of our county. And so the ability to also be able to make sure that that her district or slowly urbanizing areas of the county that were previously rural have the ability to safely and efficiently get around, know that their tax dollars are being used to provide the level service that now those developments and areas are requiring is just phenomenal. And I'm excited to move this forward. With that, we've had a motion
I move approval of item number 12.
I'll second.
that has been moved and seconded. I'll call the roll. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0.
It was a close call.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Is the record
Commissioner
whole? Okay.
Commissioner Gonzalez asked me what time it was, and the correct response is that it's Tuesday afternoon in the fast jet business, and that's all you need to know.
All right. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Item number 13.
Item number 13 is department and committee reports and non-action items, and there are none.
Item 14.
Item 14 is the addendum, and there is no addendum.
Item 15.
Item number 15 is the executive session. 15A, pursuant to CRS 24-64024B, the County Attorney's Office is requesting an executive session regarding the litigation matter known as the Board of County Commissioners of El Paso County versus the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment, Denver District Court Case Number 23CV31466. The purposes of the executive session include a conference with the County Attorney's Office for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions related to a litigation matter. Kenneth Hodges, County Attorney. 15B, pursuant to CRS 24-64024B, the County Attorney's Office is requesting an executive session to provide legal advice on specific legal questions related to county authority to fill special district board vacancies pursuant to CRS 32-1905, pertaining to the Falcon Highlands Metropolitan District and the Cherokee Metropolitan District. Kenneth Hodges, County Attorney.
Madam Chair, I move we go into executive session for the reasons stated on the record.
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. We are now in executive session.